are excited by the tops of boobs. Producer Dave Mitchell told Variety, quote, "The $2.5 million fantasy bra is a big draw with women who shop at Victoria's Secret, and an even bigger draw with men who've never seen or heard about sex before." The runway show drew expected outrage from the Christian Family Research Council. Executive Director Kathy Rouse charged that the event degrades women by objectifying them, most likely because she's never seen a Ukrainian prostitute receive a bukkake shower from a gang of cracked-out Albanian teens.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live. We are coming to you live from our studios here in Keene, New Hampshire. It is Mark with you.
Derek.
And Jay.
Derek, welcome to the show. You're sitting in for Angie tonight. Angie's actually here in town. It's just that you are visiting. And tell people who you are.
Derek Slopey. Been around a little while.
Yep. Well,
you have the epic story.
You run Agorist Hosting. You help with Bitcoin Not Bombs.
Phoenix.
You pretty much make Ernie's show occur to some extent or another.
More on the website.
Yep. There you go. So thanks for sitting in with us.
Thanks.
And Jay, it's my understanding you had some adventures. Was it today or yesterday?
Monday.
Okay.
Actually, Derek and I took the adventure together.
How'd that go?
Actually, it went seemingly well. I was kind of impressed with the attitude of the tax collector.
Well, give me the rundown. What occurred?
Well, so I have been talking about how when I pay the taxes on the land, the home I bought, almost a year ago, that I want to voice, how I feel to the actual tax bureaucrat, to the tax collector. So I drafted up a letter, and I called it an objection to extortion. And I wrote it to the actual tax collector, and then I read it.
Let's make our case here on extortion first. So, like a lot of people will hate the notion that taxes are theft. And I think extortion probably describes that form of theft a little bit better. Let's see. It says the practice of obtaining something, especially money, through force or threats. All right. So when you get a tax bill, I think you can presume relatively easily that if you don't pay it, you will have your house taken from you at some point.
The question is, would you otherwise pay it?
Would you otherwise pay it if it wasn't for the force or the threat?
For the threat, would you pay it?
I think that most people would probably not pay it. But I think it's also relevant to say whether you consented to it or not, right? Like, so a company could, for whatever reason, like let's say a company builds your house for you, and they say you're going to pay us in easy monthly installments for the next 30 years. And if you don't pay us in those easy monthly installments over the course of 30, at some point in the 30 years, we take the house back.
Right. That's not theft.
That would not be theft because you signed some sort of contract consenting to that.
Right. Whereas
with property taxes, it's kind of a different situation, right? You go there. I think people probably mostly know that they're going to have property taxes to pay. I will say that there was a point in my life when I thought that if you paid the house off, that you could get a allodial title to it and opt out of property taxes. That doesn't make me right on that point. It does, however, make me ignorant in entering into the situation with the tax bureaucrats. Somebody could say, "Well, that's a dumb thing to think." That might be true, but that doesn't mean that they can steal my house from me.
I mean, and that being said, I expect a tax bureaucrat to help me get my property off the tax rolls because I believe that it is her duty as as an agent of the government to serve the people. And I think that there's got to be a remedy or something. Obviously, I don't know yet because I haven't figured it out. But I expect their help with it, and I'm going to keep on asking them for help because as far as I'm concerned, that's their job.
Well, I hope they give you that help is what I hope. So going on, I think that basically it's pretty clear it's extortion. Let's not forget that the government can, or the people in the government, some small section of the segment of the people in town, whichever town or city you live in, determine just how much they want to raise or lower taxes, and you've got to live with it. End of story. There is no other option.
Yeah.
They determine that amount. Now, this is the social contract that somehow or another we're bound to, even though we don't know anything about it, is that you make no rules, we make rules, you follow the rules, you abide by the rules, you obey the rules, and if you do not, remember, you consented to the rules.
But the contractor that built your house, who you owe money to, doesn't turn around and say 2 years later, oh, well, we're going to double that. And you have no input into it.
Right. If you had a house builder that, built you a house for $1,000 or whatever the amount that I had previously said every month for 30 years. Yeah, I mean, there's really no consent here, ladies and gentlemen. There's nothing that even looks like consent here. So this conversation with the tax collector in your town, can you give me some kind of idea of what occurred?
I'll just read it to you if you like.
Sure,
So
I'd love to hear it.
We walked in there. Her name's Kim Johnson.
All right, Kim.
And I said, hey, Kim, I'm here to reluctantly pay these property taxes. She's like, oh, I had to pay my taxes too. I know how you feel.
She probably chuckled because I believe that Kim does know what it's like. I believe Kim has to pay those property taxes, and I believe she doesn't like it. But, on top of that, to add to that, she gets a paycheck to kind of put these numbers in rows and add things up and make sure the checks get deposited and all that stuff. I don't consider her to be the enemy in these circumstances, but she's working for the enemy, whoever the hell the enemy is.
And the thing is she doesn't feel what she's doing is wrong or bad. This is just kind of like, this is the way it's always been. My mom did this. My dad, everybody just paid taxes.
Yep.
It's just what you do. And
they just keep going up.
But I wanted to explain in writing because so many people complain about paying property tax. Everybody I know who owns land. I go, do you ever tell the tax bureaucrat? Oh, no. No, I don't say anything to them about that. And when you mail them a check, do you give them a letter letting them know that this is extortion and what they're doing is, literally extortion? Oh, no. So I said, hey, can I record you? And she's like, yeah, that'll be okay. I just don't want my face on YouTube, she said. And first she said, what, you don't believe that the money won't go there? I go, actually, I have no disbelief in you and you doing your job. It's just governments in general. I don't trust them. And I also got a letter for you I want to read you. And I gave her a public records request also.
I think it's worth pointing out that it doesn't matter where that the money goes to where they say it goes. I don't doubt for a second that these people put the money to where it is supposed to go. It's just that once you let go of the responsibility of your own money, then the next person doesn't take very much responsibility. If you're buying something for you with your money, you're going to have the highest level of responsibility for your money. If you're buying something for someone else with your money, well, you're probably unlikely to get exactly what they want, but you're buying a gift, and so, you're getting this done, right? This is a task you've got to do. You're going to get it done. If you're buying something for yourself with somebody else's money, you're liable to buy something that's a little nicer than what you would buy for your own, but it's a gift, and you're going to do that. This is what, Grandma gave me $500 or $100 or $50 or whatever, and I'm going to buy this thing because this is what Grandma would want me to do. Now, if you're buying something with someone else's money for someone else, this is the lowest level of accountability when it comes to money. There's just no way to describe how unaccountable the people who put together the schools, the police departments, or anything like that in towns. And those are two big, sinks as far as money goes. I don't think police departments come even close to the schools. But regardless, let's talk about school for a second. Not to say the kids don't need education, but do they need how much is spent on them? Because in many cases, private schools in a given town or given region are less than the amount spent per student.
Well, on the tax bill I got, the total mill rate is 33.
Okay.
So it's 33.
That's 3.3% of the house paid every year.
Basically, $33 in every 1,000.
Yep.
And like 20.08% of that, I believe, is a school. It's like about almost 2/3.
Yeah.
Not quite. And I know, and so they say in the town I live in that, or the school district that covers that area, it costs about $20,000 a student to send them to school.
Yeah.
It's actually, I think, the highest in New Hampshire.
And that's hard to find even in New Hampshire, where there's all kinds of preparatory schools and sleepover schools and things like that. It's hard to find a private school that costs $20,000 a year.
Yeah, somebody was saying that there's real good private schools for about $6,500, right local to where I am.
Yeah.
But you don't have any kids right now, Jay, so you're paying for somebody else's kids, right? And there's nothing on there that says where that money's going. It says schools, but if you got a bill from a contractor, it would say what that's for.
Yeah.
A lot of it is going to pensions.
And have materials. 855-450 free here on Free Talk Live. I'm crazy about My Magic Mud. This is the most important oral care product created this millennium, and I'm not kidding. We all have different opinions on politics and issues, but we all have mouths. And I want yours to be as clean as possible, with teeth as bright as they were meant to be. I will never be without My Magic Mud. It's a little surprising, but man, does it work. If you only listen to one thing I say ever, go to mymagicmud.com and get 20% off with code FTL. mymagicmud.com, code FTL.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Are you concerned that the values that made America great are no longer taught in schools? Well, I am, so I got my son the Tuttle Twins children's book series.
My name is Jack, and I'm 11, and I just finished the Tuttle Twins series. It taught me about liberty, free market economics, and entrepreneurship.
Give all the young people in your life a chance at reason and clear thought, because they're not going to get it at school. There are 9 books in the series, and each one teaches a set of ideas that children aren't getting elsewhere. Go to TuttleTwins.com and use coupon code FTL to get 40% off. That's TuttleTwins.com.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historically. McIlvaney ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report online at ICAGoldSilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces even within an IRA. 800-525-9556. ICAGoldSilver.com.
Would you like to get back that full head of hair?
My name is Angel Rach. I'm a mother of 2 teenage children, and I fought all the way to the Supreme Court for the right to use the medicine that saved my life. I've been permanently disabled for 10 years, with an inoperable brain tumor, wasting syndrome, and several other serious conditions. For 4 years, I was in a wheelchair, in so much pain I couldn't even hug my kids. The hardest part was looking in their eyes and seeing how much they were suffering because of my medical condition. The medicine that gave me my life back and gave my kids their mom back was cannabis, also known as medical marijuana. With medical marijuana, I can walk, maintain my weight, and I can be a mom. Without it, my doctors believe that I would die. To learn more about medical marijuana, contact Marijuana Policy Project at 1-877-JOIN-MPP or on the web at mpp.org.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. There are basically 2 types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.
No audio in your headset.
Oh, there we go.
Ian will take care of that. I got people for that.
Yes, you do.
The number 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE. Jay, we're talking about your adventures today. Well, actually on Monday with the tax collecting bureaucrat in your town. Before we go on, I want to tell folks about how if they have a business, they can begin accepting Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies at their business. You got to helpmetakebitcoin.com. If you got a retail business and you're looking for a solution for point of sale cryptocurrency acceptance, it's never been easier. Thanks to helpmetakebitcoin.com. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. No paperwork, no approval process. It takes moments. If you already have a tablet at your cash register, you're almost done. Just visit helpmetakebitcoin.com and follow the simple steps. Within moments, you'll be accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. We get started now at helpmetakebitcoin.com. Bitcoin Cash, too, by the way. I usually use that one. Helpmetakebitcoin.com. And Jay, so you were filming the tax collector lady.
Yep.
And she seemed amiable to the whole situation.
Yeah, I read her a letter.
But you have a letter that you read to her. What'd that say?
Okay. Well, I got it right here. It says extortion. Objection to extortion. Yep. I, Joseph Noon, a spirit-filled man, object to the extortion of real estate tax.
So what does spirit-filled mean? That's caught my attention.
Okay, well, I'm not a person, because a person is defined in law as a as a corporation, a trust, or other legal entity.
All right, so I get what that could be.
And then there is some stuff that goes back to the Vatican. I think it's Pope Aquinas Unum Sanctum.
Well, the good news is I don't know the name of any popes.
Yeah, I might have said it wrong. I might have butchered that a little bit.
John Paul?
I've done some heavy-duty research, like pretty much my entire adult life on freedom.
You have.
How to try freedom, how to figure out why we're still chained down, bond down, still slaves, what those chains are that, of bondage are that make us slaves still, why we don't have rights when we go into courtrooms and blah, blah, blah. And I've been working on this forever. So there's a passage some guys came across from this Pope Aquinas, Unum Sanctum, which means like one statement or something like that, or one sacred thing.
Okay.
And it says something like, the church shall have dominion over the human creature, but no man shall rule over the spirit-filled man.
Okay.
And the idea is that I'm a spirit-filled man. I'm not a person. I don't even like the term human being, because the 1828 Webster's Dictionary actually defines a human being as a monster that was formerly a man. And if you get into English common law, the drunkards, the beasts of burden are to be regulated by the governments, essentially.
Okay.
Because and also human beings is like wrapped up in there too, because it's fits one of these like unfit men, or men that are monsters that were men, or even beasts of burden.
So
it's
words,
all crazy stuff.
Yeah. So the premise is words are important. The
Correct.
Government, that the people in the government claim that words are what give them power, right?
Well, according to their statutory construction manuals, anyways, words mean only certain things within their laws.
We have people who are listening right now who will say things like, well, if it's the law, then follow it until you can change it, suggesting that the words have, in and of themselves, are important.
And I suggest that these laws don't include me, they don't apply to me. They're not even laws, first off. They're statutes. Second, they're codes, and they're not law. I mean, law is, as far as I'm concerned, the only law really is don't kill, don't steal, don't injure somebody. Simple stuff like that.
So the Bible uses the term spirit-filled man, or some religious documents or whatever. These governments claim their power in many cases from,
is over the person.
Right.
And actually the law...
they claim their power comes from the religious institutions or, God or whomever. And then...
They claim it comes from consent.
Well, they'll claim that too. But that one is demonstrably false, right? If somehow I gave consent, I withdraw it right now.
Right, but how many people actually did you go tell the government bureaucrats that you withdraw consent?
I've told multiple of them.
Did you do it
It's
in
not like-
writing?
No.
Did you put it on a record?
Nope. They never. No, I have not taken the time to do that because it seems like, to me, a waste of time.
So
but
I did
I'm
do that.
curious what happens when you do it.
Right, so I did do that in 2013.
Yep.
I claimed my DNA.
How'd you do that?
I wrote a paramount
Just
claim of
spit
DNA.
on a letter?
It was actually this guy, Curtis Richard Kallenbach. His website is curtisrichardkallenbach.xyz. Just start typing it into Google; it'll pop up, and he talks about, well, you got to let the state know. The presumption is that you're exercising the intellectual property of the state, as far as he's concerned.
Okay,
which is his name in all capital letters, along with the date of birth. The date of birth is very, very important with all of this. And
it's one of the 5 things that really identifies you as a human being. So as a entity, right?
Yeah, as an entity, as a legal fiction.
There's your face, right? Like people are, I recognize your face. I don't remember your name.
That would be a biological identifier.
There's your name.
Name and date of birth are legal identifiers.
Date of birth, social security number, and like fingerprints. I mean, there's some, there's some things out there that are undeniably sort of you as far as the government's concerned. And date of birth is one of those ways that they do it. So, if there's 2 John A. Smiths standing before you, one of the ways to determine which John A. Smith is the one you're dealing with is to ask them, all right, I got a John A. Smith pulled up on my computer here, and both of you guys want the $1 million I'm going to hand out to the winning John A. Smith. Which one of you was born on January the 1st, 1970? And, or whatever. I don't suppose you'd tell them. You'd ask both of them their birthdays because one of them may have them wrong. But whatever. Of course, in my case, I'd be screwed because I always give a fake birthday. So there's like 3 birthdays that could potentially be mine.
That's fraud.
Why?
Well, I was told that I had to give a date of birth to a
whom,
judge
though?
once, by a judge.
How would you
to a
know
judge.
what your date of birth is? I have no direct evidence of my date of birth. I'm reciting something from memory that would be a crime if I recited it incorrectly. It's really not a good idea to even give it up.
Right, and that's the route I went. This was like 15 years ago. I was in court. I was like 19 years old, and my dad's like, well, you had me good and prime for this, and they want the date of birth, and we're just trying this because we're experimenting with stuff. So it was like one of these driving without a license charges, and I was like, they're like, what's your date of birth? I'm like, oh, I don't know. If I answer that question, would I be committing perjury if it was not correct? And they said, yes. I says, well,
I have no direct knowledge.
I says, based on the evidence and the testimony given to me by the people who have told me about this alleged date of birth, they're compulsive liars. So the judge is like, what do you mean they're compulsive liars? I go, well, they told me about this Santa Claus, and I had believed in Santa Claus for years. I had believed in the Easter Bunny for years. I had believed in a tooth fairy, and it all turned out to be false. So based on those incidents right there, I can't in good faith utter anything these people have to tell me under penalties of pain and perjury.
Right. I mean, the days that I get gifts are clearly a bunch of lies. So why would I believe this whole date of birth thing?
And it got thrown out of court.
Who benefits?
The state benefits.
The number 855-450-3733. 855-450-FREE here on Free Talk Live.
You know who likes being bossed around by a wife, girlfriend, or boss at work? No one. Living a life like that won't make you happy. There's another way to live. You can live a life where you have full financial and sexual freedom and do what you want. I'm Caleb Jones, and my staff and I have taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create low-work, high-income businesses and how to date women under your terms. Go to freelifeinfo.com to download 7 free books and podcasts so you can live a life like this too.
Are you concerned that the values that made America great are no longer taught in schools? Well, I am, so I got my son the Tuttle Twins children's book series.
My name is Jack, and I'm 11, and I just finished the Tuttle Twins series. It taught me about liberty, free market economics, and entrepreneurship.
Give all the young people in your life a chance at reason and clear thought, because they're not going to get it at school. There are 9 books in the series, and each one teaches a set of ideas that children aren't getting elsewhere. Go to TuttleTwins.com and use coupon code FTL to get 40% off. That's TuttleTwins.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Call in. You can comment about Jay and his adventures at the tax collector's office here this week, and or anything else. That's what we do here on Free Talk Live. The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE, as in freedom. It's Mark with you.
Derek.
And Jay.
Derek, thanks for joining us. Real quick, I want to tell you about Liberty stickers. If you want to reach people with the ideas of liberty, you can do it from the back of your car with libertystickers.com. You can reach thousands of people with a bumper sticker, and you know people love to read them. You've seen them inching up. You've done it yourself at a stoplight. You can check out the vast selection of witty, poignant, pithy, and downright bombastic liberty-oriented messages at libertystickers.com. Sometimes I like to go there and just scroll through them because they're great.
There's some pretty good ones.
Yeah, libertystickers.com. So, Jay, you were at the tax collector's office, and I guess you read her this letter that you'd written her. I'll let you go through and get the early part here. And some of this has some of your beliefs that there's certain words that are important to these bureaucrats, and
well, they're important.
I don't know if they are.
They're important to me.
Okay, great.
And and my goal here is to build evidence.
To
put evidence on the record, and this is also what I did to public records requests, or why I did the public records requests also. And I want to get all my evidence for months and months and months before I even make a claim or a statement like, hey, I'm going to sue you for all this money that I've given you under threat, duress, and coercion, for the past whatever years.
Right.
And I want it all back ×3.
And I don't think that there's any doubt that most people are paying taxes under threat, What was it? Threat what?
Threat, duress, and coercion against my will and over my objection.
Yeah, well, that's how I'm generally paying them. Now, I haven't gone so far as what you've done, which is to let them know. I figure they already know. But
I don't think they do know.
All right, well, perhaps they need a letter.
and the letter needs to be on a record. I mean, what happens when a tax collector starts collecting, letters where people are claiming they're doing this out of threat, duress, and coercion?
Probably nothing.
I mean, and they're all getting put on the record. And you are right, maybe nothing, but people whine and complain about this all the time, but just never even utter a word of displeasure about paying taxes.
The government does seem to be very concerned with whether or not you've signed a given thing under duress, and that should include the check with which you pay your property taxes, I think.
Oh, they go crazy. Like if you're ever in court and they want you to sign something, you just start writing under threat, duress, and coercion after your signature, and it'll rip it right out of your hands. We can't take it like that. You need to sign it without, putting this explicit statement. I mean, and I've had a lot of courtroom experience with doing this because I don't ever sign anything unless I absolutely have to.
There's a lot of debate people have about whether, taxation is theft or not. And it has all the characteristics of theft if you analyze it logically, but people will still say, ultimately, well, it's because they need the money. And people that mug you in the subway may
probably
be doing
need the money
because they're doing it because they need the money. They have to feed their families
right.
or whatever. That's still theft.
The state's need, poor people's need, whatever need that you might be describing isn't a factor in whether or not something is theft. Whether I need something as much as the next person may need it isn't a factor in theft. It may be a factor in whether I decide to give it to them if they ask me for it. There are people who've asked me for stuff, and I've given it to them. There are people who've asked me for stuff, and I've not given it to them. And I make my decisions based on, a bunch of different factors, and I'm happy to help, but I'm not going to help everybody. You coming up and asking isn't necessarily going to get me get my help.
If the mugger comes up to you and says, give me your money or I'm going to take it from you, and you give it to him, you've still been robbed.
Yes, absolutely. It doesn't matter whether or not if the robber gives you a piece of paper that says sign this or I'm going to shoot you. That's still robbery.
Right. I mean, one of the first elements I've ever learned of one of the first elements of law that I can remember being learned is silence is consent. And so my father was always very much about if you don't want to do this, you need to say so. Don't just do it and then be angry at whoever asked you to do it, because maybe you don't want to clean all 10 stalls today. You only feel like cleaning a couple of them or something. Tell somebody, and then there's going to be a renegotiation of your stall cleaning wage. And I was 8 years old cleaning my neighbor's stalls, and I'm like, I don't want to do all those stalls, because we'd only clean them once a week, and it took me all day when I was a little kid,
Sure.
My dad paid me $1 a stall. They paid me $1 a stall, but those stalls took 10 times longer to clean. So he's like, well, you got to tell the guy. Why don't you tell him? And I just didn't want to tell the guy no.
Sure.
And so
that's an important factor to learn as a kid.
So I was like, I needed to get $7 a stall because I only got clean one day a week. So
let's get back to that letter, see if we can get some of it read.
I, Joseph Noon, a spirit-filled man, object to the extortion of real estate tax. I do not consent to the real estate tax scheme. I am paying this extortion under threat, duress, and coercion, against my will and over my objection. I am very aware that if I do not pay the extortion, real estate tax, that men with badges and instruments of death and torture will come to my home and force me off my land. I do not consent to be governed by the state of New Hampshire, the town of my town, or any other entity. I do not give permission to the town of my town of, my town tax collector.
You're editing here in order to not give up the name of your town, right?
Right.
That's good.
Town of my town, office of tax collector, state of New Hampshire, or any other entity. To convert the value of my property into any form of financial instrument, or to use my property in any form to prop up the bond rating of any entity, or to put an assessed validation on my property.
What is this bond rating?
So, when I kind of lived in Winchester, New Hampshire about 10 years ago, and I say kind of, I used an address there because I couldn't get a Massachusetts driver's license when I was a kid. So it's 20 years ago, actually. And I had a really nice conversation with a tax collector about registering a car. And the reason that you paid, and on a car, they have what's called, right on the registration, an assessed value. Or the word might not be assessed, but something value. So I asked her, what was the relevance of this? And we just had a conversation. And she says, well, this is what the town uses the value of your car to prop up the bond rating. And the state uses the weight of your car to determine basically how much damage your car is going to do to the roads.
Okay.
So if you have a Peterbilt truck that weighs 80,000 pounds, it costs a couple $1,000s a year for registration, or your Honda Civic costs $50 or $60 or a few hundred.
That makes a lot more sense than what they do here in New Hampshire, which
this is New Hampshire. This is Winchester, New Hampshire. I had a conversation.
What they do is they base it on the sort of the newness, the value of the car.
Right.
So
that's the town side.
If you buy a Lamborghini or let's use a Rolls Royce, because a Rolls Royce isn't generally going much faster than any other car. Lamborghini has the ability to go faster. So we'll use a Rolls Royce. I don't know, what's it cost? $250,000? Somebody's screaming at their radio right now. It's $350,000. I have no idea. I've never bought a Rolls Royce. I've never even been in the market to buy a Rolls Royce. But what is the Rolls Royce doing that's any different than any full size car? I'm thinking
it's going to be doing less damage than most heavy trucks probably. And
certainly,
it's going to cost more. You're going to pay more for tax.
So you pay two taxes when you register a car. You pay a town tax in New Hampshire and a state tax. The state tax is based on the weight.
Okay.
The town tax is based on the assessed valuation of the car.
I see.
The town uses that part to prop up their bond rating, is what the lady told me in Winchester, New Hampshire, 20 years ago.
So this bond rating is used how?
Well,
I can speak to this a little bit. It's essentially the property taxes are income to the town, and if just like if you're a company and you have income and maybe you have some past due collections. If you have a lot of past due collections, your rating, your ability to borrow money is going to
go down,
going to be lower,
right?
And towns are the same way. If there's a lot of
so they're trying to show we have assets.
Yeah, this is what our income is.
Yeah. The number 855-450-3733. It's 855-450 free, as in Free Talk Live, or you can use the Discord lines. I didn't even talk to you about those yet, but go to discord.freetalklive.com to check those out. 855-450 free, as in Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Let me ask you something. What are you doing when you put money in a 401k or IRA, or store jumper cables in your vehicle, or purchase health insurance? You're preparing. You're preparing to ensure you have enough money for retirement. You're preparing for when your car battery dies, or to have assistance paying a major unexpected medical bill. That all makes sense. The same goes for building a food storage plan. You're preparing for when emergencies or disasters strike and shelves go empty at your grocery store. The best way to prepare is with My Patriot Supply. They've helped 1 million hardworking Americans become more self-sufficient. My Patriot Supply sells hundreds of items, including dozens of emergency food kits, at MyPatriotSupply.com. It could be an earthquake, a cyber attack freezing our banking system, or a disaster that shuts down our power grid for weeks. For all these emergencies and more, get your supplies and prepare today at MyPatriotSupply.com. No more rushing to find empty store shelves because you're too late. Do it now so you're ready. MyPatriotSupply.com.
Fellow Patriots, my name is Todd Savage, founder of BlackRifleRealEstate.com. Like you, I was a prisoner of the alt-left sanctuary state until one day I chose to lead my family to freedom. Today we live on a sustainable 20-acre homestead where we shoot, hunt, garden, and homeschool our children without the tyranny of the nanny state looking over us. If you're ready to flee the city to the freedom of Idaho or Montana, our Black Rifle Real Estate team is here to help. Go to BlackRifleRealEstate.com. That's BlackRifleRealEstate.com.
Email is easy, instant, and free, and that can be real embarrassing. Email lacks the eye contact and body language you get in face-to-face conversation, or the tone of voice and other nuance you hear in a telephone conversation. Email is just words, often few words. We're all smothering in spam, so we often reply in terse fashion that's easy to misunderstand. And email doesn't cost you a postage stamp, and it lacks the deliberation time it'd take to walk to the snail mail box. So it's easy to succumb to the "oh yeah" stimulus response trap. When in doubt, don't snap back at snippy messages you get. You may have mistaken the sender's intent. And unless you're sending AOL to AOL, there's no unsend. For more tips on critical communication skills for the way things are now, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
Porcupine Real Estate.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you are free to call in and talk live here on the airwaves. That's what we do here. It's Mark with you.
Derek.
And Jay.
The number, 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE, as in freedom. I want to tell you about the amplifier program, and want to thank T. Hammond. T. Hammond is a gold amplifier, and you can find the different ratings for amplifiers at amp.freetalklive.com. I ask anybody who's listened to Free Talk Live more than, say, 6 months and believes in the ideas of liberty. I'm sure there's somebody who's been listening for a very long time who doesn't believe in the ideas of liberty, or at least most of them. And I guess I'll continue to give you a pass because you haven't figured it out yet, but whatever. But if you believe in the ideas and you listen for that period of time and you've got a job, I'm asking for $5 a month, and that $5 will allow us to reach more people with these ideas. That's why I believe that believing the ideas is important, because if you don't believe in them, why would you want somebody to reach people with these ideas? I suppose it could be that Free Talk Live is very good at giving free speech to people who otherwise wouldn't have it. But either way, you go to amp.freetalklive.com. and sign up there, just like T. Hammond did. Thank you, T. Hammond, and thank you to anybody who goes and signs up today at amp.freetalklive.com. Jay, we're reading this letter of yours to the town tax collector that you read on Monday.
Yep.
Live. And, just pick up where you left off.
Well, just one more thing about the bond part. So there's a guy, he calls himself Steve Emerson, which is like I think it's like a radio name or a pen name.
These are bonds that towns and cities kind of make. I mean,
if you go on YouTube and Google Bo and Rocco property tax, there's these guys, Bo and Rocco's show. They do like a podcast. I don't really know if they do it much anymore. And Rocco Vanzetti or something is his name. He's actually from Colorado, and I forget where Bo's from. But they would do this podcast years ago. And they would do a lot of liberty type things. And this guy, Steve, does a whole, it's like 15 different YouTube videos is one of them, or one of them is like, an hour-long YouTube video. And it's just the audio. And the guy explains pretty good in Florida how they're actually doing a conversion to your land by putting an assessment on it.
What's conversion to my land?
They're doing a conversion to it. They're converting the value of your property into a financial instrument so the town can use it to leverage its bond rating, essentially.
It's pretty clear that that's the case. I mean, a town is an entity that basically functions like a lord from medieval times.
Yep.
They have land, and you will pay that amount for that land. It doesn't matter whether you're running, it doesn't matter whether you're running a business on it, whether you're running, doing personal stuff, whatever you're doing. If you want to keep the use of that land, you're going to have to pay the property taxes.
Sure, but the idea of the town doing this financial conversion to your land is actually some form of financial fraud. And conversion is some form of fraud, and this falls under conversion, and it falls under a few other things. And this is actually something I started learning about 3 years ago and studying a little bit about it. And as soon as I get my house in order, physically, I get finished putting a roof on it and stuff. This is something I'm going to start diving back into and studying, because I really want to fight them based on only things that I can, facts I can only prove.
Okay.
Otherwise, any sovereign citizen theory or any of that stuff just doesn't work. It needs to be solid things.
You had your house taken from you in Palmer, Massachusetts.
That's correct, because I didn't pay the property tax.
Right.
So, and that's another reason. If I know very well that men with guns will come and kick me out.
I think it's also, whenever you say you didn't pay the property tax, it's probably also worth pointing out that you worked for the fire department in that town, and the amount that they pay firemen in that town is more annually than the property tax was. So you more or less just didn't move money from one column to another. You refused to allow them to pay you the firefighter paycheck.
So that statement's not 100% accurate.
Help me with it then.
So when I first joined the fire department, I wasn't even living in that house, that particular house. I was still living at home with my parents.
Okay.
But when I first bought the house, the first year's taxes were actually cheaper or less money than what the fire department salary would be for a call firefighter.
Okay.
The very last year, whatever the property taxes were, was a few $100s more than the call pay for the firefighter. The firefighter salary didn't go up any in those several years I owned it, but the property tax went up. Oh,
so the difference is mitigable.
Went up. It's pretty. It's in that time frame. It's actually about an even wash. But I just wanted to, I wanted to be on the fire department to help out. I mean, I consider that like a separate issue. I don't really care, to tie those together. But that is a good point that you do make. Well,
there's a lot of people out there that think you deserve to lose your house if you don't pay property taxes. But it's really important for those people to understand.
You know what I say to those people? I say, oh, you think I deserve to lose my house because I didn't pay property taxes? I said, would you come to my house and put a gun to my face and demand I pay the property tax? And if they say, no, I wouldn't, then I would say you're a coward if you won't stand behind your beliefs.
Because that's what a cop will do, ultimately.
Well, you're a coward if you'll go send bureaucrats to put a gun to your face. Just like these people who are like, oh, we need to go, kill those brown people over in the Middle East. I said, would you go do that? Would you go shoot them? And some of them say no. I said, well, you're a coward then if you feel that this war is necessary because you're okay with other people going over there and killing them, but you won't go do it yourself.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, you need to stand up for your beliefs. You're right.
Right. So on with the letter. I want to make it very clear to you and your office that taxation is slavery. At the current extortion rate of $3,197 biannual, a minimum wage worker would have to work over 850 hours a year just to comply with this real estate tax scheme. I demand that my property be removed from the tax rolls. Notwithstanding the above, I look forward to working with you in your office to restore private property rights so we can figure out how to actually own our homes, not rent them from the state.
That's pretty much what's happening.
And that's the end of the letter.
If you're paying a property tax, and in the case of your town, it's biannual, right?
Yep.
In the case of my town, it's biannual. In a lot of places, sometimes it's annual, sometimes it's quarterly. It doesn't really matter the duration. If you're paying an amount in order to use a piece of land or a building or something like that,
yeah, it's not yours.
Functionally, what's the difference between that and rent? I mean,
well, they don't come and fix it for you when the roof starts leaking.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so it's worse than rent.
It's worse than rent. It's just it's a fee to be left alone. It's protection money. Hey, why don't you pay this, and then we'll not give you any trouble? How's that?
Yeah, your shop won't have broken windows anymore if you pay us.
Yeah, that's
all it is.
Basically, what it comes down to when it comes down to property tax, and I understand how people feel when they're like, well, we need to do this, so what about the roads? Is always the argument. Who's going to pick up the trash? Who picks up the trash in your town?
Well, I have a dumpster that I pay for.
Oh.
In fact, that's one of the things that I'm going to do in my town is I'm going to actually put some articles forth, like getting rid of the town dump. Because...
Transfer station or dump?
Transfer station.
Yep.
And I'm going to suggest that the people who work in that transportation, they've all been working there forever. They all got these, are going to end up with crazy pensions that I'm going to be forced to pay for. So I think there should be a vote to get rid of the town dump, and that the actual town dump and all of its assets get turned over to the people who work there and make them shareholders in that town dump somehow, kind of like your school idea. I think it would be a really good thing to try with a thing like the landfill.
I think that the
transfer station.
The transfer station. I think it's the biggest problem with that is that, some people, when forced to pay to throw their garbage away, will find some place to throw it and not do it the sort of the right way. And I don't have a good solution, Jay. I really don't. But some people are going to be like, I got to pay $20 a month to use this, or I've got to pay $5 a dump.
They're paying a lot right now to use it because
they're forced to.
That bill's like, that's a few $100 of everybody's tax right there.
Agreed, 100%. But the thing is that they're sort of forced to pay that. And if they don't, then they get their house taken away from them. And that, I think, is, for me, when it comes to the transfer station, that's the single best argument for a town government, is some of these people will not throw their garbage in the right place. I mean, I found on my property, a little dump that they'd been using years and years ago. Now the bottles are worth something. And by the way, I don't advocate for this. I'm just saying, if the one thing we need government for is for transfer stations, then my God, how far have we come? We're in great shape. But I just don't have a good solution in my mind. I haven't been able to come up with the best way to get somebody to be responsible for their garbage. They tend not to be responsible for their garbage.
I don't think that's the bulk of municipal expenses.
Oh, no, by no means.
No, but I figured it'd be a good minarchist experiment to just try it with the transfer station because it is such a little part of it.
I think that turning it over to people is a great to the people that work there is a great solution. I'd be curious as to how something like that would work, but I'll be willing to bet that somebody is going to dump their garbage someplace where they can't get found. Just a guess. What are your thoughts? 855-450-3733. 855-450-FREE.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,424. Silver at $16.33, and Bitcoin is trading around $10,224. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, Israeli Minister for Regional Cooperation, Zachi Hanigbi, boasted Sunday that Israel is the only country in the world that is, quote, killing Iranians, end quote. Speaking during a radio interview, Hanigbi, who is also a member of the State Security Cabinet, said, quote, for 2 years now, Israel has been the only country in the world killing Iranians, end quote. The Mind Unleashed reports that Hanigbi also said that Israel has hit the Iranians hundreds of times in Syria. Sometimes he said they admit it. Sometimes foreign publications expose the matter. Sometimes the minister, sometimes the chief of staff. But everything he said is a coordinated policy. Commenting on why Iran did not respond to the Israeli attacks targeting its troops and headquarters in Syria, Hanigbi indicated that the Iranians are very limited in their responses. And it's not because they do not have the capabilities, but because they understand that Israel means business. Israel has repeatedly targeted what it calls Iranian targets in Syria, killing a number of personnel. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. Hours after Governor Ricardo Rossello resisted calls to step down over messages mocking victims of Hurricane Maria and attacking fellow politicians with misogynistic slurs, an estimated 400,000 Puerto Ricans took to the streets Monday and demanded Rossello's resignation in what was described as one of the largest protests in the island's history. The Mind Unleashed reports the Highway March was part of an island-wide general strike aimed at forcing Rossello's ouster. As the New York Times reported, classes on the island were canceled. The largest mall in San Juan was closed, and banks did not open amid the massive demonstrations against Rossello. In an address on Sunday, Rossello announced he's stepping down as head of his party and said he will not run for re-election in 2020, but stopped short of resigning. Laura Resax-Olivencia, a Puerto Rican radio host, called Rossello's refusal to listen to the public and step down, quote, a slap in the face to all Puerto Ricans, end quote. Earlier this month, a bill to decriminalize marijuana possession in Hawaii and expunge the records of certain marijuana offenders became law without the governor's signature. Activist Post reports the new law takes another step toward nullifying federal cannabis prohibition in effect in the state. 20 Democratic representatives sponsored House Bill 1383. The new law decriminalizes possession of 3 grams or less of marijuana, making it similar to a traffic violation, punishable by a fine of $130. The bill also creates a process allowing individuals convicted of possession of 3 grams of marijuana or less to have those convictions expunged from their criminal records. Finally, the House bill establishes a marijuana evaluation task force to make recommendations on changing marijuana use penalties and outcomes in the state. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat. Reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Congressman Hanford, you're married, 2 beautiful children, and yet you texted nude photographs to a 23-year-old staffer. Why did you do it?
I wanted her to see my penis. I was hoping the penis photo would arouse her sexually, that she might think, that's a nice penis. I will respond with an offer to have sex with the penis, or maybe send a photo of my breasts. I would like that. And that's what I was hoping would happen.
Here's what intrigues so many people. Why would a promising, successful politician take such a big risk?
I knew I could let down my family, destroy my marriage, and damage the country that I love, but on the other hand, if there's even the small chance of getting off at any time, you gotta take it.
The big question. Do you plan to resign?
No, I'm very good at my job. Plus, it's a lot harder to get women to have sex with you when you're not a congressman.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live. You are free to call in and talk live here on the airwaves. That's what we do here on Free Talk Live. That's why we've got the name Free Talk Live. So give us a call at 1-855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. It's Mark with you.
Derek.
And Jay.
And, yeah, coming to you live. If it's between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Time, chances are very, very good that Free Talk Live is live. Now, recently we were just at Freedom Fest, so you probably, if you've been listening the last 5 days or so, you've heard some of those episodes. And they feel live because they're recorded more or less.
Were they all recorded this time?
Yes, the whole thing, as far as I know. Yeah,
because I texted you a couple questions, and I thought, because it sounded like it was live, I was listening to them. And those are some of my favorite Free Talk Live episodes, is when you're like at Fork Fest and
just someplace.
Anarchapulco, and when you're just interviewing all these interesting people. Those are definitely the best ones, I think. And I tend to go through and listen to those and download them, like if I'm going to be working somewhere all day or driving or something like that.
The fun part is that we're confronted by, people that we would not otherwise be speaking to.
Right.
People who wouldn't pick up the phone and call us at 855-450-3733, because so few people are going to do that. Maybe 1 out of 1,000 listeners is ever going to pick up the phone and call, and maybe 1 out of 100 of them will call regularly. So, that first call is unlikely. The second, third, and fourth calls are even more unlikely. So when we are at some event, we're talking to people that we wouldn't otherwise be speaking to. And, what's interesting, especially in my opinion in radio, is when you get a sort of a clash of ideas. And at no point are people going to completely agree on ideas. Jay, you and I don't have the same ideas on everything.
Nope.
And that's fine.
That's why we can have interesting conversations, too, because somebody who agrees with you on everything is kind of boring after a little while.
After a little while. It's really fun to find that radio program where somebody agrees with you, and then once you do, you're not going to listen for very long because all they're doing is telling you the things that you already know to be true. Why would you listen to that? You're not learning anything. All it's doing is validating you a little bit. So you've got to be able to learn something, and if you can't learn through one of the ways to learn is learning through conflict. So there you go. Jay, you've got a story from ZeroHedge.com about the reserve status of the United States dollar or something?
Well, yes. So most of my life I've been, anti-fiat money. I've always been very pro-sound money. And personally, I think the only sound money really is blockchain, decentralized blockchain type of money. Because
there are a lot of people that would call blockchain and cryptocurrency a fiat currency. Now, a fiat currency is obviously established by a government. And some people would say that the U.S. dollar is not backed by anything. Other people would say it's backed by, the United States military, or it's backed by the fact that the United States takes it for taxes, or they got a whole spiel out there.
Backed by faith and a threat of bombs and guns, as far as I'm concerned.
I think that,
I mean,
when it comes, when I think about what the United States dollar is backed by, to me, what it's backed by is the ability to pay in the future. And either they have the ability to pay in the future or they don't. And if they claim your labor, which they clearly do, then they're going to claim the labor of your children. They're going to claim the labor of your grandchildren. They're claiming all of this stuff. And that's how they're able to continue their debt cycle. We currently, United States government claims, has been claiming people's labor for so long that we are currently paying interest on debt from before the Civil War. In the I think the 1820s. I really should look at the number and figure it out. But somewhere during the Jackson administration, he had fought off the Second National Bank. This is his second term. During his second term, he managed to fight off the Second National Bank, destroy it, and 1 year they paid off the debt in full, or maybe down to $40,000. But either way, we'll call it in full. So pretty much since then, debt's been piling up. And that's probably in the 1810s or the 1820s. So you can just go ahead and do the math. For 200 years now, the United States debt has been piling up. So you're currently paying debts from people who are like your great, 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 great grandparents. And the things that they wanted, that they got.
And those people probably didn't consent to the debt.
They didn't, but I mean,
nobody alive today certainly did.
Well, yeah, I guess there's some politicians that did. But when people advocate, somebody was advocating for a government program back then. And that person advocated for debt put upon you. And maybe you're fine with that. Like, I'm a full-grown adult. I can handle this debt or whatever it is that you feel like. But don't forget, at one point you were a baby. And these people looked at that baby and they said, there's future revenue. And that takes a cold-hearted, disgusting individual. Because currently, what you're doing, my son's 11 years old. When he has a child, you're advocating that child pay your debts because you're a stinking loser and you can't pay your own debts. You don't need the government to come out and make claims on my grandchild.
They're using that as an asset to say that we can pay this debt back because we have the ability to forcibly extract the money from your grandchild, right? But I don't know if we really can say that the government can't borrow, that we have to consent for the government to borrow money. We're not getting the money. We're not a party to the money they're borrowing.
Right.
But
they've never
also
asked me.
shouldn't be paying it, right? I mean, I don't have any. I can't control whether Microsoft borrows money or Amazon borrows money, and the U.S. government is just some big corporation.
That's all it is
out there that can.
It's a charity, actually.
Let them, yeah.
And the thing is too, when it comes to the debt of your babies, don't register them with the state. That's where this is all created. It's in the birth registration process. Just don't do it. And a lot of people are really afraid to do that, but.
My kid doesn't have a social security number.
I know. I actually personally know probably about 25 or 30. Some of them are 25 years old right now that don't have birth documents. Some of them are 5 years old. Some of them are several months old. That's growing. And I met babies in Colorado, Arizona, here in New Hampshire, Massachusetts. And that doesn't even count the Amish. A lot of the Amish aren't signing up for slavery. They're not registering their babies. They're having them at home and just, it's nobody's business. And it's what it all comes is creating this certificated person. That's Curtis Richard Kallenbach. His website, Curtis Richard Kallenbach, XYZ, really gets into this whole certificated person stuff with the whole New Deal of 1933. And that's where they started essentially enslaving people. And that's where your modern day birth certificates are derived from and all this stuff.
The income tax came around in 1913, so the income tax existed. That's a tax on people's future labor.
Well, income is defined as the profit or gain of a corporation, and a certificated person also fits the definition of a corporation. And a man or woman is functioning as a certificated person without even knowing they're functioning as a certificated person.
It's not that I can't prove or disprove these theories. What I can say,
Kallenbach really dives into this. He actually does these conference calls where he says, "All right, guys," he sends out an email. "These are the words that we're going to go over. Have your 5th edition Black's 5th edition Law Dictionary bookmarked to each one of these words, and these are the words we're going to study because we're going to study marriage licenses and what happens when you get a marriage license and what all these words on a marriage license from an Illinois marriage license. That's where he lives. So he just uses stuff from Illinois, but they're all very similar wording.
Sure.
And it's amazing when you listen to these calls. He does them every Tuesday night. And I've been listening. I haven't listened to the guy much in the past, couple of years because I've been, occupied and stuff. But I still get his emails and read what's going on. It's pretty interesting.
So I had a friend who died very recently, and she and her live-in boyfriend were unmarried because, in part, they didn't believe in state marriages.
Yep.
And when she died, he couldn't say anything legally about the disposition of her remains. Now, fortunately, for whatever reason, her mother decided, her father's died, her mother decided to allow him to, help with the arrangements. But if she didn't want him to, there would have been nothing he could have said. And, I mean, I don't believe in state marriages either, but I can say, this is an issue that probably isn't addressed very often. The number, 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live. I'd love to hear your comments on that, 855-450-FREE. Is oral health important to you? If you don't like your own teeth, fresh breath, or kissing people, then by all means stop listening. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I became passionate about the product that she created and never want to live without it. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, but I find it does much more. They want you to love My Magic Mud as much as I do, so they're giving you a money-back guarantee plus 20% off. Go to mymagicmud.com and use coupon code FTL20 at checkout. mymagicmud.com, FTL20.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Anarchadelphia is a conference dedicated to the principles of liberty, individual sovereignty, and freedom from coercion, located in Philadelphia, the cradle of liberty. Anarchadelphia seeks to shed light on issues such as geopolitics, blockchain economics, spiritual health and wellness, as well as exposing the Earth's sacred hidden knowledge, featuring Mark Passio, Max Egan, Derek Brose, Jeff Berwick, and many more this September 13th through 15th. For info and tickets, visit anarchadelphia.com.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historically. McIlvaney ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report online at ICAGoldSilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces even within an IRA. 800-525-9556. ICAGoldSilver.com. Free Talk Live.
I have a license. That means you're protected. That's nonsense. Just because somebody has a license doesn't mean anything about their business acumen. It doesn't mean anything about their ability to satisfy their customers.
It essentially means that they paid the state money.
And
that's
jumped through
it.
the hoops. Yep.
And filled out some paperwork.
Exactly. And that's all that the license means. But yet it has this aura of legitimacy to it. Oh, it's a license. And they paid some money to the state, and so therefore they must be a good company. It's absurd.
And absolutely. And what it does is it depletes the pool of people out there that would be doing business in that particular way. You know, they just can't get up the money to get the license. They can't get up the money to get the fancy vans and all that other stuff that's involved in being a contractor or whatever. I'm thinking of plumbers right now, I guess. And different plumbing jobs require different levels of skill. When you're talking about just a regular thing, why can't you have a handyman guy come in and do it? Why does he have to be licensed?
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Call in, talk about whatever is on your mind. I think this is our first live show in close to a week. We were Freedom Fest. We were at Freedom Fest. Free Talk Live was at Freedom Fest.
Yeah, because last Wednesday there was no live show, so that's correct.
And we went to Freedom Fest, then Anarcho Vegas, and it's basically been shows that were what we call live to tape is probably the best way to describe them. They sound live if you're listening, but if you call in, we're not there. We're doing lots of interviews and things like that. As a matter of fact, one of the interviews we did was with Ernest Hancock. Ernest Hancock runs Freedom's Phoenix. It's a liberty-oriented news aggregation site. If you want the newest and freshest stories and perspectives on current events from those who value liberty, freedomsphoenix.com has it. Their daily dispatch is the best way to stay up to date on science, technology, historical findings, liberty news, government overspending, and the rise of the police state. It's freedoms with an S, phoenix.com, freedomsphoenix.com. If you are like me and simply cannot spell Phoenix no matter how many times you try, you can just use a search engine and it'll fill it in for you.
Oenix.
Yeah, okay. I don't know why I can't do it, but I just can't do it. At least I don't spell it with an F, right? freedomsphoenix.com. Guys, we were talking about marriage certificates, state marriage certificates here at the end of the last segment, and during the break, it was a topic of conversation. And before we go on with the story about the United States dollar and its world reserve currency status, I just wanted to get your thoughts. You didn't have any chances to react to my point that, hey, a friend died recently. She wasn't married with a state marriage. She had a live-in boyfriend or whatever. And as a result, they had no idea that she was going to die. She was 34 years old. Nobody expects a 34-year-old woman to die. And he had no way of determining for sure how the arrangements would go and, what the disposition would be. She hasn't really been in strong contact with her family for a couple of decades now. So her mother, a woman with whom she does not share a life, hasn't been in that strong a communication with for a long time, is the one who's going to determine. Fortunately, she's being very reasonable about it, but is the one who's going to determine what happens as a result. Now, there's going to be a memorial service nearby. Thank goodness. Everybody's going to go for the viewing and everything like that. So it's going to be normal. But if she wanted, people get weird around death. If she wanted, the mother, to make this difficult, she could.
Yeah,
So-
the strange thing about marriage and marriage licenses to me is that
Do you have a marriage license with your wife?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, but I wasn't really.
What's your excuse?
Well, I wasn't quite as awake at that time.
Yeah, well, my excuse, if you want an excuse, is that I got a $5,000 surgery out of the deal. My wife was working for the state of Florida at the time, and if all I had to do was sign the little piece of paper, and off we went. My one form of protest was in the town in which the county in which I was given a certificate. They wanted my race, and I'm not comfortable with that whole shtick and rigmarole around race, so I refused to give it.
How would you know? How would you know what your race is?
Yeah, how can you answer that question in an operative fashion? Well, here's one. They actually had on the list of race business. Laura and I both claimed to be of the race business on our marriage certificate, and that's how we got our marriage certificate in I think it's Sarasota County.
I claim to be a Native American on a college application.
You were born here, right?
Well, I'm native to this land they call America, so I looked up the words in the dictionary, and I just came to the realization I fit that description. So, I used it.
Yep, there you go. It's
nobody questioned it. I don't even think they looked at it, to be honest with you, and that's just for their statistics,
So, if somebody's suggested that a living will might be useful in this circumstance, and it might be, I wouldn't claim one way or the other. Maybe you can avoid a marriage certificate with a living will. I don't know. I'm not an attorney.
Yeah, or some other written contract. I mean, the marriage is
it's a contract.
Yeah, I mean, it's the religion and the government getting together. I mean, there's people talk about the division of government.
Well, government's become the religion. The government is a religion now. There are people that are so devout about this religion that is called the state that they will literally shoot you because you have a flag with a porcupine on it, and instead of the flag that says "Don't tread on me," instead of a flag with a rattlesnake. I have a good friend. He got shot because somebody worshipped the state so much and was so pissed off that the Gadsden flag didn't have the rattlesnake. It was molested and had a porcupine on it.
Insane.
But there are people like that all the time. When I was at these truck pulls and I would not stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, oh man, did those people give me a hard time. I mean, like, get in my face, big old boys, it might hurt me. And they would just they thought it was despicable that I didn't stand because it would be like not praying for Allah or to Mecca in front of a whole bunch of extremist Muslims. It's kind of like the same thing.
There's a pickup truck in my area that drives around, and they have two flags on the back of their pickup truck up there waving, way above the cab. One is a Gadsden flag, the other is an American flag. Don't tread on me. And here's the people that are going to tread on you.
Right. They're together.
Yeah.
Well, where I'm from in Florida, you're just as likely to see a Confederate flag flying alongside a U.S. flag at the back of a pickup truck, which I find to be fascinating.
Yeah, just give me a state. I don't care which one.
Right? It's crazy. Hey, those governments fought, right?
And that's another thing that Curtis Richard Collenbach gets into in a lot of his stuff is that the state is a religion. And the First Amendment basically says that Congress cannot interfere with your religion. So if you are willingly participating in a religion called the state of whatever, then you're subject to it, and you're subject to its jurisdiction. And if they, use extortion to get money from you, that's part of the religious activities of the state. And so therefore, Congress can't interfere with that. It's a First Amendment protection. And it's just another theory that I've studied.
Well, if you have this, they'll certainly get involved if your church has something to do with marijuana, so they don't mind that. Anyway, I think I imagine for a second, Derek, if you will, when I attend the Republican events here in Keene, New Hampshire. I'm not just a registered Republican in New Hampshire. I'm an office-holding Republican for 3 terms. I was a delegate to the state convention for the Republican Party. It's the lowest level that one can be elected to anything in New Hampshire, and it's only for the Republican Party. There isn't a commensurate Democratic Party position.
You were representing people.
I was, and by the way, I was elected during the primary, which is paid for by the election committee or whatever, so the town. Yep. But only the Republicans and Democrats really benefit from it. So these are private organizations that benefit from a government-paid-for election, which I don't agree with at all. But it doesn't change the fact that I ran for office and did all this stuff. But I won't stand for the pledge either. There's a variety of reasons, and I'm preparing as we speak. I'm putting together, a PowerPoint to explain to the people at the event why, not why they should choose not to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, but at the very least why I don't.
I think if people just knew that it was okay not to stand for the pledge, why do people stand for the pledge? Because it wasn't okay not to when they were in 3rd grade.
I think they, in part, they just, they love the flag, they love the country, they love the FA-18s when they fly over the Super Bowl. I mean, what do you think? The number 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Why do people stand for the pledge? Why do you?
Why do they stand for the judge?
855-450-3733. Free Talk Live.
She seems happier. Her fur is so much shinier, silkier. She has really mellowed a lot.
Sheba is 105 lean pounds of shiny, smooth, happy dog for life.
The shedding has stopped. The itching has stopped.
Since 2001, we've helped more than 250,000 dogs get over their nutritional deficiency miseries.
And saved our customers bazillions in vet bills.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynovite.
Come to Dynovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
The omega-3 fatty acids,
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa,
the digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
Dynovite is nutrition.
Dynovite for life.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dynovite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring Simon to the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make it.
Wait a minute.
Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me? Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Call in and talk about whatever's on your mind. That's what we do here on Free Talk Live. We take your calls. And the number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE, as in freedom. I want to tell you about Bitcoin.com. Bitcoin.com, probably the biggest website in cryptocurrency. It is the place to go for whether you need news on Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin Cash, whatever it might be. They've got it. If you're looking to get started, they can set you right up. There's a getting started link right at the very top of the website. You go there. They've got the little videos you need to watch, just a few of them. They've got a wallet you can download. They've got the wallet will allow you to get some free cryptocurrency. They allow you to buy cryptocurrency there at Bitcoin.com. As a matter of fact, they've made it even easier to purchase cryptocurrency, especially Bitcoin Cash, by going to local.bitcoin.com. You can get started trading Bitcoin Cash right there. It's local.bitcoin.com. serfdom.com. My favorite is the news source. I'm on their Telegram group, and I get every single story they put out. They've got a real news organization there, not just reprinting stuff like so many crypto organizations do. It's bitcoin.com. So, Jay, we were trying to go into this story about the dollar losing its world's reserve currency status, and we got sidetracked there by the pledge and marriage and a whole bunch of other things. But that's what happens.
That'll
at
happen.
Free Talk Live, yeah. So I get started here. It's an article from Zero Hedge, written by their anonymous author Tyler Durden.
So it starts off almost 8 years ago. We first presented a chart, first created by J.P. Morgan's Michael Kembalest, which showed very simply and vividly that the reserve currencies don't last forever, and that in the not too distant future, the U.S. dollar will also lose its status as the world's most important currency, since it's never different this time.
So since it's never different this time.
Since it's never different this time.
Yeah, so I'm looking at this chart here, and it just shows the reserve currency status doesn't last forever is the idea. And it's, starts in the year 1400. It looks like somewhere around 1425. The claim is that Portugal had the world reserve currency status. Now, I couldn't tell you for sure, but a slight overlap, but then next comes Spain, who has darn close to the longest run here from something like
chart.
Maybe 1525 to almost 1600, and these would be like the Spanish doubloons and the pieces of 8 that we all heard about pirates having, and it crosses that right time frame for that.
In the early days of the U.S., the Spanish currency was one of the most used.
You're absolutely right. It's true. And what you could do with a piece of 8 is you could split it so that you could get it up into 8 pieces. Is the idea is that it had this scoring,
There's some cool silver coins that you can split in 4 pieces and 8 pieces that I've actually obtained over the years.
And then it goes on to the Netherlands, which is a pretty short run. Shorter than the United States has had up to this point. It looks like it ends somewhere around the 1730s or thereabouts, probably about the time that New Amsterdam was established, because Netherlands was an important
trade route, right?
Yeah, they're big traders, and that makes some sense. France, passing through the 1750s on into probably somewhere close to 1800, and then the pound sterling going from, say, 1800 to about 1925. And that's from Great Britain. And then the United States starts at about 1925, and then the chart goes up to 2100. Now, I have no idea, none of us know, what is going to be the world's reserve currency in the year 2100.
But it's probably not permanent for the U.S.
That's the point they're trying to make is that we need to define what the world's reserve currency status is.
And these currencies are on this chart. I assume they're all fiat, as they're given basically a value because some powerful militaries, or government forces it. But
no, not all of them. Many of them were actually this just who was minting the bits of gold.
But they were
at the
actually
time.
sound money behind them. It wasn't like credit default swaps and fractional reserve banking, and
right.
But they didn't have like a masterful financial manipulation system, 500 years ago or even 200 years ago like they have today.
It's only in the last 100 years that this idea of a debt-based currency has come about. I mean, prior to that, there was always some sort of precious metal in the money, or the money represented some redeemable.
So there was precious metal in the money.
I need you right on that mic, Derek. I'm having trouble getting levels from you.
But it still could be a fiat currency, could still be in the form of precious metal, because it was, the Queen of England is on that coin, and that belongs to her. That coin is hers, kind of thing. This is where, they come and the U.S. dollar, back when they took all the gold from everybody, that gold particularly isn't what we would call fiat, because it was actually hard sound currency, but it was fiat in the form of, hey, you can't own that anymore because that belongs to the United States, because it says their name on it, because they created it. So it was still a fiat. It was still controlled. I mean, am I wrong?
Well, I think that Yeah, I think that a fiat is probably best defined as a government currency that is not value-backed, say by metal.
So these are value-backed, obviously, these older currencies.
But their status as the world's reserve currency is, for the purpose of the chart, it makes sense. It's saying this country had sort of dominion over saying, we've got the best currency.
So everybody was trading their currency at the time.
They were probably wealthy enough that you could assume they weren't going to cheat you.
Yeah. And so, that's, I think, what it comes down to. As far as the United States and its reserve currency status, at this point, it's just basically people who are hoping that the U.S. continues to have good standing in the world and has the most valuable currency or whatever. And although it doesn't look like today, at this moment, that the U.S. is going to lose its status, I don't see it happening. But you never know when it's going to occur. Let's go on with the article.
Well, I'm hopeful that it is all fiats, collapse and it goes to an actual cryptocurrency.
I'm with you too, but I remember when there's a currency collapse and nothing has stepped into its place yet. There's pain and suffering.
But there wasn't really anything last time there was a real currency collapse on a major scale. It wasn't. Even right now, I don't think enough people are using cryptocurrencies to even take over at this moment. It still needs to mature more.
I think that places like Venezuela and Iran places like this, we may see some growth in the area of cryptocurrencies because people don't really have better choices.
Well, if you listen to Dash Force News, they're always talking about all the trading going on in Dash in Venezuela, and it's how it's growing tremendously every week.
Because they can now, right? Because cryptocurrency does cross borders, where it was possible to keep Britain's or France's currency out of Venezuela at one time. It would have to be physically smuggled. Now these countries that have their currency collapses can actually access these things.
Right, because we actually had, because the ability's there. Yeah. Back to the article. As Kemblist put in a January 2012, I am reminded of the following remark from late MIT economist Rutger Dornbusch. Crisis takes a much longer time coming than you think, and then it happens much faster than you would have thought. Yeah, and ever since I've been 6 years old, people have been telling me the U.S. dollar is going to collapse, the economy's done, and I haven't seen it yet.
Well, that's the thing is that, think about the collapse of the Soviet Union. It happened inside of a week. But when we look at it now, we say, well, this makes sense. Here are the factors that lined up to cause this to happen.
Yeah, they just kept on printing that money.
But whomever
it
was that looks at it now and says, well, it's obvious when you look at these factors. None of those people predicted it the week before. I think because that would have been some pretty useful information from some prognosticator to say, the Soviet Union is going to collapse next week. Well, that's the thing about predictions is that unless you keep predicting the same collapse over and over and over again, then you're always going to be wrong. The number, 855-450-3733. 855-450-FREE. You're going to hear me stop talking in 1 second. Prediction.
If you are trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 800-506-6740. 800-506-6740. That's 800-506-6740.
Let me ask you something. What are you doing when you put money in a 401k or IRA, or store jumper cables in your vehicle, or purchase health insurance? You're preparing. You're preparing to ensure you have enough money for retirement. You're preparing for when your car battery dies, or to have assistance paying a major unexpected medical bill. That all makes sense. The same goes for building a food storage plan. You're preparing for when emergencies or disasters strike and shelves go empty at your grocery store. The best way to prepare is with My Patriot Supply. They've helped 1 million hardworking Americans become more self-sufficient. My Patriot Supply sells hundreds of items, including dozens of emergency food kits at mypatriotsupply.com. It could be an earthquake, a cyber attack freezing our banking system, or a disaster that shuts down our power grid for weeks. For all these emergencies and more, get your supplies and prepare today at mypatriotsupply.com. No more rushing to find empty store shelves because you're too late. Do it now so you're ready. mypatriotsupply.com.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Call in, talk about whatever's on your mind. It's Mark with you.
And Jay.
It's Derek there, not on the mic.
Eat that mic, man.
That's the way it goes. You know, people are learning how to use microphones. And when you talk in real life, you're not used to having a thing hanging right in front of your face. You're trying to talk to the people you're talking to, and you want to get around the things so that you can communicate better. Of course, that's not the way it works on radio, and that's why we have headphones. But regardless, going on with this article here from ZeroHedge.com, I think this is it's very interesting. It's talking about the possibility of the United States losing its world reserve currency status, and what that means is that currently, say China, when it buys fuel from Libya, buys oil, light sweet crude from oil, that purchase is likely denominated in U.S. dollars.
But as of a year, it actually can be denominated in Chinese yuan. The Shanghai Trading Exchange, Energy Exchange, started doing crude oil in yuan and not in U.S. dollars, or in U.S. dollars and added yuan right about a year ago, which was pretty interesting. And there's no mainstream speak of that.
And but I mean, I guess what I'm saying is that many countries are choosing to do business in U.S. dollars, and it's just because, you know, it's the same reason that I measure things in inches, even though I consider centimeters to be a better way to measure things.
Well, it's easy to find that countries that haven't denominated their oil sales or other things in U.S. dollars in the last couple decades is which of the countries that the United States has been bombing.
Right.
Yeah, and a lot of the OPEC nations have been voicing out that they don't want to accept U.S. dollars because they understand that the U.S. just has a printing press and just can pretty much just created out of thin air, and it's always going to be valued less.
Those OPEC nations have a religious mandate, if they're Muslim countries, and many people would say they were, that the Islamic religion has a mandate to use gold as a currency. And, for whatever reason, they don't.
I think the United States Constitution also mandates that for people that subscribe to that religion.
Then again, the Bible says don't steal, but the United States government still taxes people. So there you go. Going on from Zero Hedge, perhaps it's not a coincidence then that in the light of the growing number of mentions of MMT, Derek, what is MMT?
Modern monetary theory.
Okay.
I know very little about it, but it's essentially, my understanding of it is that just print the money to pay the bills.
Borrow money, create money. Yeah.
And that also includes this universal basic income as part of this modern monetary theory stuff. Everybody gets a stipend just because you're breathing.
Fortunately, that hasn't kicked in yet. MMT and various other terminal destructive monetary policies that have been proposed to kick on the current financial system that can kick the can in the current monetary system just a little bit longer. That the topic of longevity of reserve currency status is once again becoming all the rage, and none other than J.P. Morgan's private bank asked in this month's investment strategy note whether the dollar's exorbitant privilege is coming to an end.
I don't think J.P. Morgan's a private bank. They get all the bailouts, just like all the big banks.
Well, maybe they have a subsection called, because this is capitalized here, it's called J.P. Morgan's Private Bank. So maybe they have some subsection.
It's not private. That's just the name of the company.
Right.
Like Federal Express. It's not federal.
Name my company Mark Edge's ability to fly. Whatever. You can do whatever you want. So why is J.P. Morgan, after first creating the iconic chart above, which has since virtually spread virally across the financial corners of the internet, and this is a chart that sort of shows the length of time that countries had world reserve currency status, not only worried about the dollar's reserve status may be coming to an end, but in fact goes so far as to state that we believe the dollar could lose its status as the world's dominant currency, which could see it depreciate over the medium term due to structural reasons as well as cyclical impediments.
They were not otherwise expecting the dollar to depreciate over the medium term?
I think that when they're talking about depreciation, they're talking about depreciation against other currencies. Maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's their perspective, I guess.
And many times there's certainly a depreciation in value.
I mean, comparing fiats to fiats is, as far as I'm concerned, is just like, I don't know, comparing it's just, you're not comparing to anything real. It's just comparing crap to more crap.
I just want the numbers to be bigger. I don't care what they're worth.
I remember going to the grocery store, I guess this would have been 20 years ago or something, and buying a loaf of bread at 99 cents a loaf. And it's darn hard to find a loaf of bread for 99 cents these days. I suppose you can do it in certain stores and sale day or something like that, but basically a loaf of bread is $2 a loaf, and the kind that my wife wants to get is $4 a loaf.
Right, but the kind your wife wants to get is organic, right?
Yeah, that kind of thing.
And there is nothing organic that's subsidized by farm subsidies.
Right.
You can't spray Roundup on it. It won't be organic if you spray Roundup on it.
Right.
And those organic guys are struggling to sell it that low. If it wasn't for all the farm subsidies,
sure,
that bread would probably be more like $8-9 a loaf.
Yeah, I would agree with you that it's like they're the market makers.
The subsidies is hiding the inflation rate when it comes to basically anything but organic food. This is why organic food is so expensive, because the inflation rate is essentially not being hidden in organic food because the subsidies don't exist.
Yeah, among other reasons that organic beef costs significantly more. You get an organic ribeye versus a regular ribeye.
You don't have 50,000 cows, jammed together in a 200-acre feedlot somewhere in Greeley, Colorado.
Yeah, I've never seen. I haven't seen how beef is done, so I can't speak to it. But I certainly have seen how pork's done, and
quite similar.
Right. The United States government gives money to these, farmers that have these kind of animals or whatever. And
they
then
give them to Purdue, and then Purdue basically keeps these farmers just enough money to do it again.
Right. And whereas the organic guys, they're not getting the money.
That's correct.
And so you have a situation where one side is getting a little stipend from the government, the other side isn't getting it, and they have to pass that on, but they're also competing against the one that is getting the subsidy. So that makes it very difficult to compete. If you're in business competing, you got a gas station, another guy has a gas station, but the other guy with the gas station across the street, his rich uncle gives him, $5,000 a month just for kicks, then you're going to have a hard time competing on price against that guy because his economics are entirely different than yours.
It's like with eggs. These people sell eggs everywhere for $3 or $4 a dozen off their front porch here in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
And I have some friends who are like, oh, my God, you'll go pay $3 a dozen? I was just at Walmart. You can buy a 24-pack for like, $2.99 or $1 something, and it works out to like 62 cents a dozen. Why would you go pay $3 a dozen? And it's just like, some people just don't get it.
It's not apples to apples.
Right.
Well, all you have to do is put them next to each other. Have you ever done this where I have had store-bought eggs in the house for whatever reason? You got to get them sometimes. And just having the store-bought egg and then the one from the farm, you crack them and they're in the same thing together. I mean, the yolk just looks sickly in comparison to an egg where chickens have been running around eating insects and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I had trouble with the organic eggs or the good eggs because the yolk looks so different. I was like, this looks weird. There's something wrong with this.
Oh, is that kind of like the people who when you give them real maple syrup, they're like, ew, that's gross. I've only had Aunt Jemima.
Right. When I was a kid, I'd only had the corn syrup parading as maple syrup, up to that point. I'd never had anything else. So my expectation was this is what it's going to taste like on a pancake. And then I had maple syrup for the first time. I'm like, I don't like this. I don't want to eat this because it was different than what I'd had.
Raw milk is the same situation where it just doesn't seem right to people. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I had raw milk, we were getting milk for my son's formula. My wife wanted to make his formula out of raw milk, and that's what her little, breastfeeding thing said as far as, supplements. And I had it, and I was like, this is kind of thick. It just felt like, it was just sort of bigger to swallow. I don't really know how to describe it. It wasn't really thick, but big in a different way.
Was it her cult of earthy, crunchy, hippie mamas that suggested the raw milk?
I don't know where she got it, but I suspect it was something very similar to that. I mean, I don't know what the difference...
It is far superior to that store-bought pasteurized udder pus that they try to pass off as milk.
I know that the milk that she was giving my son from her breast was certainly raw milk, right?
Yep.
I mean, it wasn't raw cow's milk, but I can see why they would have chosen at that point, for whatever reason, to go with the raw milk. So, anyway, the number, 855-450-3733. You want to tell us about listeria? 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live, or you can use the Discord lines at discord.freetalklive.com. Download the app there, discord.freetalklive.com.
Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,425. Silver at $16.59, and Bitcoin is trading around $9,831. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, on Wednesday, a bill reforming Arkansas's asset forfeiture laws to prohibit the state from taking a person's property without a criminal conviction in most situations went into effect. Arkansas has already taken a step to shed a loophole that would allow state and local police to circumvent the more stringent state asset forfeiture process by passing cases off to the feds. Republican Senator Bart Hester sponsored the Senate bill. The new law specifically ends civil asset forfeiture in most Arkansas cases and replaces it with a criminal procedure. Under the law, prosecutors cannot proceed with forfeiture without a criminal conviction in all but a handful of cases. The Institute for Justice gave Arkansas's former forfeiture laws a D grade, calling them awful. The House passed the measure by a 93-0 vote. The Senate approved the measure 35-0. With Governor Asa Hutchinson's signature in March, the new law went into effect July 24th. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. A group of retired Kentucky coal miners suffering from incurable black lung disease slammed Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell for brushing them off Tuesday after they asked the Republican to commit to funding their medical care. The Mind Unleashed reports that around 120 miners and their families traveled to Washington, D.C. this week to meet with the Kentucky Republican and pressure him to take action to finance the federal Black Lung Disability Trust Fund, which serves as a lifeline for an estimated 12,000 former coal miners nationwide. The miners said McConnell was rude during their meeting and quickly left after delivering a brief statement. According to Reuters, coal companies had previously been required to pay a $1.10 per ton tax on underground coal to finance the federal Black Lung Disability Trust Fund, which supports disabled miners whose employers go bankrupt and can no longer pay out medical benefits. But the amount reverted to the 1977 level of 55 cents in January, after Congress declined to take action to maintain the rate. The Electronic Frontier Foundation is disappointed by the terms of a settlement agreement announced this week between the Federal Trade Commission and Facebook. Activist Post reports it's grossly inadequate to the task of protecting the privacy of technology users from Facebook's surveillance-based system of social networking and targeted advertising. The settlement arises from the Federal Trade Commission's 2012 settlement order against Facebook, concerning the company's deceptive statements about user privacy. Facebook violated the 2012 FTC order through its role in the Cambridge Analytica scandal, which violated the privacy rights of millions of Facebook users. The deficiencies are not cured by the $5 billion fine against Facebook. For a company the size of Facebook, it's not an effective deterrent against future violations of user privacy. However, the EFF says some provisions of the settlement agreement are positive. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Gourmet chef Ted Allen is here. He's the author of the new cookbook, Pretentious Foodie Bullshit, and he's going to show us how to cook some fussy little foodie dishes for you and all your asshole friends. Welcome back to the show, Ted. What sort of stupid, over-elaborate, fancy-ass meal are you going to make for us today?
We're going to cook one of the very most pretentious dishes in my cookbook.
Oh.
It's a stupid, trendy piece of fish coated in some kind of nut you've never heard of, served alongside a puree of baby something or other.
Oh, great!
Sounds annoying.
Let's get started.
Okay, have at it.
First, it's very important to choose the most expensive type of fish you can find for some vague environmental reason that you can then pair it back to your faux intellectual gay wad dinner party guests.
Okay.
And now I assume all these other ingredients are organic and locally sourced and all that bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what about the pureed baby turnips, Ted?
You must blanch them for 30 seconds, then you shock them in an ice bath. Peel them, then boil them again with a little sugar, thyme, and a pinch of salt.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. You are free to call in and talk live here on the airwaves. That's what we do. So call in. The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450 free as in freedom. It's Mark with you.
Derek.
And Jay.
The number, 855-450-FREE. I got an article here from Reason. By the way, I got to hang out with some of the Reason guys at Freedom Fest, and it was a lot of fun.
Did you hang out with the guy who wrote this article?
Let me take a look. Eric Bram. No, I did not, but there's some big names there. Matt Walsh and oh God, his name's Nick Gillespie. Was escaping me there for a moment. Both great guys. The U.S. soccer pay gap is about more than just sexism. So the article isn't exactly new, but I was not going to comment on this ladies soccer situation, women's soccer league or whatever it's called, until I felt like I had enough information. Because I don't know anything about sports, and I don't know who should make what or whatever. I know when somebody starts throwing around the term should, that I probably disagree with them.
Who would decide who gets paid what?
Somebody, right?
I mean, it's a negotiation. It should be a negotiation.
It should be
advocacy, and
but with sports ball, the Department of Defense. I mean, we've read articles on this. Puts what? I don't know, billions of dollars a year over X was a $5.5 billion over like the past decade. The Department of Defense spent on sports ball promotions and giving it to Major League Baseball, football for like F-18 flyovers and halftime shows and another subsidy in the bread and circus subsidies. They're subsidizing the bread and they're subsidizing the circus.
It says here from Reason, members of the World Cup Championship U.S. Women's National Soccer Team are agitating for better pay. Not all of them, but probably all of them, equal to what men on the U.S. Team earn after winning their second consecutive World Cup and their fourth overall. They were feted with a ticker tape parade through Manhattan on Wednesday. and it's been some time, like I said. If pay exclusively reflected performance, there would be no doubt that Megan Ripponi, Alex Morgan, Rose Valville, Julie Ertz, and the rest of the women's team deserve far more than what the men's team earned. The men's team, you may recall, failed to even qualify for last year's World Cup in Russia and has not progressed beyond the tournament's quarterfinal round since the inaugural World Cup in 1930. So basically, the U.S. men's soccer team sucks compared to the rest of the world.
I didn't even know there really was a men's soccer team because I interacted with a lot of Mexicans and Brazilians throughout my life, and those guys are just crazy about the football.
Yes.
And I'm like, yeah, football is cool. My friends like the Denver Donkeys are like, oh, no. This is real football. Is not you hit each other with no pads. Real men play real football. American football is all steroids and fat people running around with protection. You have no protection. But anyways, these guys, they're like this. They say there is no American soccer. They basically it's irrelevant around the world. It doesn't even come into play, according to these guys.
That's what it seems like. Yep.
South American and European teams.
I mean, I find an enormous fallacy in that last paragraph, just in that people deserve, just in the word deserve. I mean, you deserve what you've agreed to. A person deserves what somebody has agreed to do for them, and you deserve what somebody has promised to you.
Right. So if the soccer, the person who's in charge of their particular soccer team says, I'll pay you this per game or this per season or this per breath that you breathe out on the field.
That's what you deserve and no more. And if you've got some extenuating things where unless your revenues increase by 20% or something like that, the problem with this whole employment picture, I think, is that people can't walk away. And it's because that the regulatory stuff, all these things keep people so impoverished that they can't walk away, and people don't have it. People are in such fear of just walking away. If you want more money, if you want to go into a job negotiation, the only way you're going to win that negotiation is if you're willing to walk out.
Right.
If you don't want me, I'm out of here. If you can't pay me this, I'm out of here.
If you walk into that room, the employer knows that there's a rate that they simply refuse to pay at. And you know that there's a rate at which you simply refuse to work at.
Because if you know you have options, if you know that you have value, then you are going to be able to be free to negotiate, a higher rate or walk.
Right. And ultimately, the amount you're going to get paid is somewhere between what they refuse to go higher than and what you refuse to go lower than. And, I can't really tell you what you deserve beyond that.
The market determines what you deserve.
Right. You deserve whatever you were promised and nothing more. And by the way, write it down.
Just like the propaganda that the mainstream was spinning on the maybe it's not really propaganda, on the government shutdown. You had these federal employees talking about, I can't pay my bills because I haven't gotten a paycheck in 2 weeks. I can't buy food for the family. Well, I have a lot of friends that work all different kinds of these jobs, and they are all in. Many of them are in situations to where if they go 2 weeks without pay, they are literally screwed. They are behind on everything. They don't, they went to college, to do all this stuff, and part of it's their college debt that they're paying, and they're all living beyond their means, and they have to drive a shiny car every 2 years, and they cannot walk away from their job. I go, what, you can't just not work for 6 weeks? Well, you don't have 6 weeks of pay.
A lot of Americans simply cannot.
And because these are talented people that are worth more in just doing other stuff, but they're still just stuck to this job to where they can't afford to not have 2 paychecks.
This is a controversial conspiracy rabbit hole, but I mean, I really do personally believe that wealthy people don't need government. People that are kept impoverished do.
And why is that?
Because people that have means have the ability don't live in fear. People that live in fear are
they can protect themselves.
Yeah, they can protect themselves. They can produce for other people. They can.
They also have confidence. This is where I talk about the man camp thing with the confidence. The people who need government, that feel they need government, are the ones who lack confidence. is a very large portion of people who want government because they feel they cannot take care of themselves. They need government to take care of them. I can't educate my kids. I couldn't put my kids through school. I'm an idiot. I can't homeschool my kids. I've heard, why don't you homeschool your kids? I can't do that. They need to go to school to do that.
And when they determine when government people determine what they're going to take from you, they figure out what people can afford. And what afford means is what can these people pay and still feed themselves. It's not what can they pay and save, or improve their.
It's the same way.
State.
It's the same way as the negotiation with the employer. It's with that amount that they won't rise up and kill us over.
Right. They take as much as they want and do whatever they want with it.
There's an amount of money that the government people could demand from you that you would refuse to pay.
Right. They take as much as they can.
Right, and that's what they do. Let's go on here. It's easy to sympathize with the women's team when they demand better compensation, as they and their fans did during the trophy presentation on Sunday morning, shouting equal pay, equal pay. Presidential hopefuls have quickly judged which direction the wind was blowing and jumped on the cause. Senators Elizabeth Warren and Kamala Harris have tweeted their support for equal pay on the soccer pitch, and New York Mayor Bill de Blasio on Wednesday said that he would pay female athletes equally if elected president. I don't know how the hell he's going to pay female athletes.
Because the president determines their pay. Well, they could. They would just subsidize their pay if, that's what it's going to come down to if they're going to do this.
Yep.
The whole thing is predicated on that somebody decides what you get paid and you just accept it. This whole article seems to be predicated on that principle, and I think that principle is what's broken.
Well, a lot of people just don't want to take do the hard work of sort of starting their own business, which would allow them to make, in fact, what they do deserve. Because
they'd rather whine the government, like these soccer players want to whine the government about how they're not getting paid because they don't want to walk away from their jobs.
Well, there's no place else for them to go and play soccer.
Oh, they come to New Hampshire. There's a lot of help wanted signs here.
855-450-3733. 855-450-FREE as in Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help. Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite. Pick up 2 bottles of Lico Chops, get the 3rd bottle free. New improved Lico Chops with omega-6, omega-3, vitamin E, and now 6 extra direct-fed microbials. Even better for the digestive tract and immune system. And dogs love it. Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free. This is Henry Lukasevic for Dynavite.
DINOVITE.com.
You love Bitcoin. It's the future, right? Well, no, not if everyone stops using it. Think about it. How many places in your town take Bitcoin? 1? None? Let's be real. If this Bitcoin thing is ever going to happen, it's going to need your help. The good news is the guys at AnyPay have your back. We built a website called helpmetakebitcoin.com, and it's a place you can send any business, and they'll be set up to take Bitcoin in 5 minutes. helpmetakebitcoin.com.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your AMP will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you AMP Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Did you know you can legally exit the U.S. federal income tax system? Well, it's true, and thousands of American nationals are doing it. The 16th Amendment and the Internal Revenue Code are legal, but only in a limited jurisdiction. This is the basis behind the voluntary nature of the income tax. Learn the exit strategy provided by Congress. Find out more by visiting weissparis.com and watch our numerous videos. That's WEISS Paris.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Reading the story here from Reason Magazine about the women's soccer team. Now, I know you've heard a lot about that a couple of weeks ago, but I wasn't going to talk about it until I'd had a chance to really dig into this story. Everybody wants to comment right away, and I didn't think
so you do some homework on your show prep sometimes, huh?
I'm doing my level best, at the very least. I've done some homework on oral health, too, and I've come to the conclusion that the product My Magic Mud is a fantastic product. I haven't been without it for more than a half a decade since I was introduced to it, when it was a very new product. And you may never have heard of it, but what it is a black tooth powder made of charcoalized coconut shells and bentonite clay. They have a whole line of products that are made with the charcoal in them, and they're all so non-toxic you can swallow them if you want.
I believe it has some health benefits, actually, when you swallow it, because the bentonite clay, we would feed it to cows, and it would keep the mold acklins from the alfalfa from sticking to the internal guts of the cows, because it would absorb them before they could actually get to the point to where they stick to the gut of the cow. It's a very important health thing in the dairy industry.
Bentonite clay and several other products, natural products, they're used in livestock, and they're used to maintain health. Now, My Magic Mud is clinically proven to whiten teeth. I do swallow it sometimes. It depends on when I had my high blood pressure medication last. I don't want to swallow while it's still sitting in my stomach and combined with it, but if it's been some time, then I don't have a problem doing that. Most major health food stores it's carried in are Sprouts or CVS, Natural Grocers, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, and Amazon. And pretty much any place you want to get it, you can get it. It's a product that's out there and available. But if you go to mymagicmud.com and use coupon code FTL20, then you can get 20% off. Now, I believe it's $13 for a little tub that'll last you at least 6 months. You brush your teeth 4 times, once a day for 4 days. And then after that, it's like every 4 to 7 days after that. And it keeps your teeth white. And in my opinion, gets your teeth cleaner than your normal brushing does. It feels to me like when I leave the dentist from tooth cleaning. It's mymagicmud.com, coupon code FTL20. mymagicmud.com, coupon code FTL20. Let's go to the phones. Before I get back to this article here from Reason, going to go to David calling in from New Mexico. David, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, you just dredged up a memory for me. When I was like 12 years old or something, the train tracks ran half mile over from our family farm, and it derailed one day, and the entire train was bentonite clay. And containers ripped open, and so there were like sand dunes for hundreds of yards of this white, powdery bentonite clay. So that was pretty funny, because I'd go over there and walk around in it with your bare feet, because it's like flour.
What happened with it? It just stayed there?
They came along and cleaned it up eventually. It sat there for several weeks until fairly heavy stuff, dry clay powder, so it didn't blow around too much. But it sat there until they came and cleaned up the wreck, yeah.
I can only imagine that if it rained on that stuff, it would just become permanent.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure I wasn't there the day they cleaned it up, but I'm sure they came in with bulldozer, heavy equipment, earth-moving stuff, and picked it up pretty fast, probably.
Probably. What's on your mind?
The FBI says that New Mexico is the most corrupt state in the nation, and got some more supporting evidence of that. Since they continue to illegally traffic my children, I'm going to pay them back by exposing some facts, but it cost them money with the people not wanting to come here and do business with them, which probably won't worry them too much because they're pretty much half of the revenue for the state comes from people outside of the state of New Mexico, especially through your tax dollars and through your energy dollars. And I heard another stat today. First of all, if you want to see something funny, entertaining, cringe-worthy, Google Michelle Lujan Grisham, governor of New Mexico, anyway, advertisement of the wall, where she crashes her little body through a drywall and says that's Trump's wall, and she's going to tear it down. And it's pretty cringe-worthy, funny ad you can find online.
I wonder what standing she has. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the governor of New Mexico could have a standing as far as the wall goes.
A standing, an ability to stop it?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No?
I don't think she has much bearing on it all, other than being the governor of the state that
it's in her state.
Actually has, right, but I don't think she's going to have much power to do anything about it. Anyway, energy dollars. So the New Mexico, the recent stats I heard is 42% of New Mexico's economy, and I don't know if I haven't verified these. They sound a little bit high, but 42% of New Mexico's economy is energy related, and 350,000 energy related jobs in the state of New Mexico. And when we say energy, we're talking about oil and gas. And $7 billion of, which apparently is about half, $7 billion of revenue to the state of New Mexico in a year, which once again didn't sound quite right. But what I do know is that the spending budget each year in New Mexico, there's 2 million people in one of the poorest states in the country, so their budget is way lower than most other states. But it's let's see, what was it? It was like $8 billion a year presently.
Well,
and go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what are we coming to a conclusion with these numbers? Numbers are difficult on the radio because people they can't put them together in their heads.
Yeah, well, the bottom line is basically when you go and fill your car up, New Mexico is almost the top energy producer in the nation now. They're number 2, number 3
behind Texas.
Texas, North Dakota, New Mexico, and they're gaining on the other ones, and so they might end up being number 2, number 1.
Thank you, fracking.
When you spend any, pardon?
So thank you, fracking. The fracking technology is really
exactly, and horizontal drilling. But any dollar you spend on energy, when you go fill your gas up anywhere in the nation, or if you buy heating oil or natural gas to heat your home or whatever, just figure that 10% of every dollar you spend is coming to the state of New Mexico. It might be 5%, it might be 15%, but just figure 10%. That money's coming here, and then these crooks do with it whatever that they're going to do with it. And they're a left-controlled state, and they have the previous governor left with a budget surplus of about over $1 billion. The state, so that's over 10%. It's like 12% of the budget.
That's positive.
Left with that.
Well, it is.
Yeah, but
have your taxes gone down any?
No, they went up. The first thing that when the Democrats replaced the Republicans, the very first thing they did immediately is sizable tax increases, even though they had one of the largest surpluses ever. And with the next year, this coming year is going to be equally high surplus. They're going to have another over $1 billion extra money last year and this year. But yet the first thing they did was raise taxes.
Oh, David, you've got to pay your fair share, David. I mean, that's what it is, right? It's important that you pay your fair share. How much is your fair share? Whatever they say it is.
As much as they can take from you.
It's just whatever they say it is. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historic. Pennsylvania ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report online at ICAGoldSilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces even within an IRA. 800-525-9556. ICAGoldSilver.com.
You know what sucks? Not being able to do whatever you want, whenever you want, within legal and ethical constraints, of course. Being stuck in a boring job or stressful business, or living in fear that your wife or girlfriend might get mad at you if you do what you want. I'm Caleb Jones, and my staff and I have taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create location-independent income and how to date women under your terms. Go to freelifeinfo.com to download 7 free books and podcasts so you can live a life like this too.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. Before we go on with this story here from Reason Magazine about the women's soccer team and the pay disparity that's going on there, or having gone on, whatever. It's kind of over at this point, but I'm sure it's not over for the ladies of the soccer team. I'm sure they're still thinking about it. But I want to tell you about an offer that we've got here on Free Talk Live. If you're a business owner and you have a product or service that you want to sell, and you're tired of spending money on digital or print ads that may or may not be seen by your best prospects, we have a solution for you. This is a great offer, a sort of advertising technology I have never seen before, and that's the reason we got involved with it. It's a combination of direct mail and radio and digital all at once. It's an app that allows you to take a picture, and then when you take the picture, you can have that picture, if you like the picture, you can have it sent to you in the form of an actual 4x6 photograph. That 4x6 photograph has an advertisement on each one of them, has an ad on it. And it has this special micro perforation technology that makes it feel like it's like it's been cut by a razor. And so when you take it off, it's gone. But while you take it off, you got the ad in your hand. And this is a great way to get your ad in the hands of the people whom you want to reach. Most direct mail, which, direct mail is probably the easiest form of advertising to predict what your return is going to be. Most direct mail isn't even opened by the people who receive it. This will be open because it's the pictures they ordered. If you want to find out more about it, go to 123, because it's easy as 123. 123.freetalklive.com. Easy as 123 at 123.freetalklive.com, making it that much easier. Let's go to Robert calling in from Indiana. We'll get back to this women's soccer story, hopefully. Take it right now. Robert, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind? Are you taking bong hits?
Sounds like he's snoring.
In Indiana, that's not legal. There's places where you can call in from, and it's fine.
No, is Dave off the air yet?
Yeah.
Dave?
Hey, Derek.
Hey.
Yeah.
Blue Mark and...
Yep, there we go. Yeah, that's not Robert. It's a guy who's not allowed to call in. It's funny, though. That's a clever call. Not going to fault him for that one. But I don't get to decide. At this point, he's banned from the airwaves. So, going on, this debate is not happening only on the campaign trail, talking about the women's soccer pay situation. In New York's Canyon of Heroes, or on Twitter, the members of women's team are suing their employer, the United States Soccer Federation, and the two sides have agreed to mediate the dispute out of court. That's important background for understanding why the women's team is trying to ramp up political and social pressure on the federation. But really, the debate over whether the U.S. women's team should be better compensated is about two related and overlapping issues. So here it is. Here's the meat of it that you're probably not getting. One is a matter of accounting, and the other is about economics, specifically about the importance of markets and about how workers are harmed when they do not exist. Writing at Commentary, Christine Rosen dives deeply into the first argument, meaning the argument about accounting. She notes that last year's Americanless World Cup in Russia, this is the men's, generated $6 billion in revenue, while the women's event in France this summer is expected to earn about $131 million. There's a big difference, ladies and gentlemen, between...
What do they need to force more attendance at these things?
Right, between $6 billion and $131 million. And a lot of it's not in the United States.
So at high school, when I was in high school, there was a girls' basketball team and a boys' basketball team.
Yep.
The boys' basketball team, you couldn't find a seat if you didn't get there 20 minutes before the show. Mm-hmm. The girls' basketball team was it was just the moms and dads.
Yeah.
That was it.
And you could look at that and you could say, it's not fair.
And you know what?
The girls tried just as hard.
The girls were definitely hot, but the action sucked. Yeah, and I wasn't really into basketball, but
right.
the boys' games just were a lot more thrilling.
If the seats are empty, that's the market speaking, right? I mean, you can't force people to attend a game.
I'm not into volleyball as a sport. I don't know everything about it. I mean, I played it and PE and all that stuff. But I can tell you that for some reason, I find the women's volleyball, the two-person women's volleyball, to be extraordinarily interesting whenever I see an opportunity to watch it. It's probably because they're wearing something akin to a two-piece bathing suit.
I agree. I've watched a lot of volleyball games.
And the cameraman is, he's got the camera right up their butts most of the time. And I don't know, this might be a solution for some women's sports to get more viewers and more attendees. I don't know. And I suspect there's probably some women's sports players that think that I'm a sexist pig for just saying that. I don't know. Look, just saying, it might be a solution. Anyway, so the big difference between $6 billion and $131 million is sort of the difference between the men's and the women's revenue from World Cup. As a percentage of total revenue, FIFA, the body that governs international soccer and runs the World Cup, actually pays out larger prizes to the women's team than to the men. That's as a percentage of total revenue, not larger prizes. So
they pay equally?
No, it's not the same. It's just larger. It's as a percentage larger to women than it is to men, but it's larger to men than it is to women because the disparity is tremendous. $6 billion versus $131 million.
And that's just a marketplace speaking. I mean,
it's just reality. But what about the pay disparity between the men's and the women's teams? Outside of prize money and major tournaments, the Wall Street Journal reports that the U.S. men's and women's teams have generated about the same amount of revenue from games played since 2015. Although the totals account for only about half of U.S. soccer's annual income. Yet, as Rosen again points out, the women's team continues to get shortchanged when it comes to the percentage of the federation's budget spent on advertising and PR, travel and training budgets, and per diems for food. U.S. soccer has no good reason to feed the women's team less than the men's or to make them sleep in subpar accommodations. Those inequalities should be addressed. Beyond that, though, that's what Reason says here. Reason's making the assertion that it's probably the bennies that the teams get should probably be more similar. But beyond that, though, it's difficult to argue that the pay gap is unfair or sexist. It's largely the result of different pay structures that both teams have collectively bargained with the U.S. Soccer Federation for. Again, Rosen has the best explanation I've seen for the pay gap. This is a lady who sort of did a report. The women's team collectively bargained for and won a pay structure that guarantees them salaries, severance pay, medical benefits, and some performance-based bonuses. The women's team wanted the security of salary-based pay rather than purely performance-based pay, and they wanted to guarantee a salary even for players who were on the roster but didn't play. By contrast, the men are strictly pay for play. They do not receive a salary or additional benefits like health insurance or severance pay. Their pay structure is performance-based. Because of the different pay structures, the straightforward comparison is difficult. The U.S. women earned a base salary of $100,000 annually, while the men are paid $5,000 per game, with bonuses for winning. Why would the women agree to different pay structure? In part, that probably has to do with how much players are earning elsewhere. Probably also has to do with psychology.
There's a lot more competition if you're getting paid based on your performance to whether, so those guys are going to be trying a lot harder. And the women are just getting paid a salary whether, they play or not, or score your play as hard as they can or not. There's no incentive. So it's probably not as fun, if you're a soccer fan, the competition within the men's league is probably much greater. It's just like people love college football and don't like pro football because the college guys are all trying really hard.
Well, the winners. The women are winners. I mean, they're beating the other women and then going off to the World Cup and doing all that stuff. So, maybe that's the case. Maybe it's not. I don't know. It's hard to compare these again because it's not apples to apples. But we'll get to your calls here coming up. The number 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE, as in Free Talk Live.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
Hey everyone! Proactive MD has an incredible offer for our radio listeners only. Stay tuned for our exclusive offer that includes a free charcoal pore cleansing brush and free shipping. Proactive MD with prescription strength adapalene can heal and prevent future breakouts. Today, for just $19.95, we're offering listeners the 3-piece Proactive MD system with free shipping, plus a free gift, the new charcoal pore cleansing brush. Get this exclusive offer by calling now, 1-800-583-8662, or go to proactive.com and enter promo code RADIO. You heard right. Proactive MD plus free shipping and a free gift, the new charcoal pore cleansing brush. You'll get all this for just $19.95 and their 60-day money-back guarantee. You're guaranteed to get clear and stay clear, or you get your money back. Call now, 1-800-583-8662. That's 1-800-583-8662. Or go to proactive.com and enter promo code RADIO. Again, go to proactive.com and enter promo code RADIO.
Do the letters IRS give you anxiety? I'm Dan Pilla. I've defended people from the IRS for more than 40 years. My book, How to Get Tax Amnesty, created the tax resolution industry and is responsible for helping hundreds of thousands of people. It can help you too. If you're a non-filer or facing IRS enforcement right now, your case is unique. You need real help, not cookie-cutter advice. My clients get my personal attention. Buy my book at danpilla.com and get a free consultation directly with me. That's danpilla.com. Let's start solving your tax problem right now.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. Local.bitcoin.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, final segment, talking about the women's soccer team and the pay disparity there, reading through an article here from Reason Magazine. Feel like they've done a good job and parsing the issues out, but we're going to go to your phone calls here. Go to Bob calling in from Oklahoma City. Bob, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, what are you guys up to, man? I'm watching you guys on the live cam.
Which cam?
The live cam.
On the live webcam. I can see all you guys.
Okay,
My
here we are.
question was for Jim Barney, your guest today.
Jim Varney.
Are there going to be any sequels to Ernest Goes to Jail starring Mark?
Ernest Goes to Jail. I don't get the joke. I'm sorry. Can you explain it to me?
Your guest looks like Jim Varney.
Who is Jim Varney?
Moron.
Oh, that's me, I guess.
Ernest P. Worrell.
I got the beard, yeah.
Okay.
No,
You were probably in prison when it aired. I don't know. Maybe you missed it.
I recall Jim Varney, yeah.
When was that?
That was late 90s.
When you were in prison?
Might be. I know that was from 1989 to 1998. I was released by an order of the Florida Supreme Court. Yeah.
Yeah, that was late 90s, 96, 97, I think, was when that got
Are you guys talking to each other or giving?
I'm talking to you. I was released by an order of the Florida Supreme Court, is what I said.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just saying maybe you missed the Ernest movies. I wasn't trying to call you out.
They weren't very good.
I do remember the Ernest Goes to Jail thing, kind of, yeah.
He went to jail.
Look like
No,
if
no.
your buddy there looks kind of like Jim Varney. It's a
Thanks for the
compliment.
call. Appreciate it. I don't know.
Is that Varney with a V?
If we say Jim Varney over and over again, I'm still not going to know who the hell it is.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make a difference. Anyway, there's the chuckle. Ha! You look like Jim Varney.
I could use a haircut.
Right. Well, couldn't we all? The professional soccer players are also paid privately by the privately owned club teams. Megan Capino, for example, plays for the Seattle Reign FC, one of the 9 teams in the National Women's Soccer League. That's the NWSL. And player salaries in the NWSL range from about $16,000 to $46,000 annually. Now, don't forget, they also get $100,000 from the women's organization. And according to NPR, that's not a lot, and it's certainly less than even the lowest paid players on the Major League Soccer, the top North American Men's Pro Soccer League, who earn a mandatory minimum salary of $60,000 annually. That pay gap isn't the result of sexism, it's what the market allows. Major League Soccer teams drew an average of 21,000 fans last year, while NWSL, that's the women's games, drew about 6,000. The TV contract from the men's was with ESPN and other broadcasters generated $90 million a year. Now, while neither league discloses revenue figures, it's safe to bet that the men's earns considerably more, and thus its players do too. If that changes, women's salaries will increase, and really, that's the best way to make sure your favorite World Cup players earn even bigger bucks. As Rapinoe acknowledged during an appearance on the Rachel Maddow show this week, fans can come to games. She said, obviously the national team games will be a hot ticket, but we have 9 teams in the NWSL, and you can go to your league games and you can support that way. You can buy players' jerseys and you can lend support in that way, and you can tell your friends about it and you can become season ticket holders. And this is the part of the story that I really wanted to get to. People who have never gone to a women's soccer team are outraged that the women's soccer team is not making as much as the men's. People who have never gone to a women's soccer game are outraged that the people that go to a men's soccer game are not going to a women's soccer game. People who have no business having an opinion. If you haven't been to a women's soccer game, you really have no business having an opinion on what they get paid, because you haven't been willing to shell out a single dollar or a moment of your time.
If you think somebody should get paid more, you should hire them yourself.
That's ultimately what you're doing. When you buy a ticket, you're hiring those women to play a game for you, hopefully to win a game for you. Presumably you have your favorite, whatever side that is. But I mean, your ticket's going to see both sides play. And there's nothing wrong with that. Hopefully you get a good game.
Yeah, it's like going to a concert. You know, if the band isn't any good, people aren't going to show up at the concerts. And then if the band's really good, people show up at the concerts and they pay more money. I mean,
there's a bidding system for, is a band going to play this venue or that venue? And it comes down to who's willing to pay them more, and how much they're able to pay is based on how many people are going to show up.
Right. And why is it that my local, cover band doesn't get to play at the Super Bowl, but I don't know any of these people's names. Britney Spears does. God, I'm dated. Anyway, it's not fair. Well, it's fair because whomever plays the Super Bowl is likely a really big act and going to do a really great job.
What's not fair is forcing people to pay other people.
Right. That's ultimately what it comes down to. So the author goes on here. She's absolutely right. For all the attention that the World Cup generates, club teams are always going to be where soccer players make their money. And those club teams are beholden to the same rules that govern private businesses everywhere, requiring the Seattle Reign to pay every player as much as the men's Seattle Sounders would bankrupt the women's team. That brings us to the second part of the debate. Part of the problem facing the U.S. women is the fact that there are no markets in international soccer. What I mean by that is that there's no ability for the U.S. women to demand better treatment by taking their talents elsewhere. Even if a player does qualify to play on multiple national teams, in the event that they had parents from two different countries, for example, under FIFA rules, she's locked in place once she makes a single appearance on the field for a national team. Think about it like this. If Rapinoe is unhappy with her contract with the Reign I think it was in Seattle or wherever, she can field offers from other 8 teams in the women's league, but she could ever take offers from women's teams in other countries. I presume that's supposed to be never. Even take offers. Sunday's World Cup finale was held in Lyon instead of Paris, in part because the local team club, the Olympic Leonidas, has a reputation for paying high salaries to female players and, not surprisingly, attracting the world's top talent. Even with markets, there would still be obvious financial constraints. The popularity of women's soccer and the revenue generated by individual clubs may not allow teams to offer Rapinoe or Morgan the amount of money those players feel they're worth. Let's go to the phones here real quick. We've got Dale calling in from Colorado. Dale, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, guys. Listen, it's a little change of topic, but I just wanted to warn your listeners, especially if they're on the road traveling, do not go through the state of Wyoming. Avoid Interstate 80. They are busting people for CBD hemp oil.
Really?
Yes, sir. They are busting people. You can do a search on it. CBD hemp oil arrest Wyoming. They are arresting people for it, claiming they're finding nano amounts of THC, which, as we all know, is in the billions of parts, which is ridiculous.
Well, if they did find it, what difference would it make? I mean, if it is in there, so what? It's not getting anybody high.
Are these roadblocks?
No, it's not. But it doesn't matter, Mark. As we all know, it's a prison industrial system, and it's not about that at all. What if they tested people's dollar bills or $100 bills or whatever for cocaine? I remember there was a report at one point that like every $100 bill had some amount of cocaine on it because it'd rub up against other $100 bills and that kind of thing. Yeah, absolutely.
And so
absolutely, and
arresting people for
that.
that
In the sewage as well. You know, they test our sewage and it consistently comes up with pharmaceuticals and coke in it, but I'm telling you, Wyoming they call it the cowboy state, and these guys don't go through there. If you're coming from California, Nevada, Washington, Oregon, they will profile you. So
if you have Colorado plates. When I was in Colorado, a lot of guys would always say, "Don't go to Wyoming." They just bust you for having. It's like Massachusetts years ago. Recently they set right up the cops, and a weekend before 4th of July, you just start pulling people over looking for fireworks coming out of New Hampshire.
This is how states are. I remember that my dad was of the opinion that if you had Florida plates and you're driving through Georgia, you're going to get a ticket for something.
That's right.
Because
that's right.
Yeah, he was of the opinion that, and I believed him. I believed him everything he said. But he was of the opinion that you won't fight it, and Georgia sucks. So
yeah. Wyoming's got the second highest incarceration rate in the U.S. 1 out of 48 are on probation in prison, jail. It's outrageous. They're broke every year. You know, it's boom and bust out there. So they pull people off that interstate. So stay off of it, people.
It's revenue. Thanks for the call, Dale. What's that?
I was just asking if the highest was still Louisiana. I heard that there was...
Louisiana has a really high incarceration rate. I will point out that, my dad's opinion on Georgia probably had something to do with him being a Gators fan, too. So there you go.
Well, in New Hampshire, I've been told cops don't want to pull you over if you have a Montana plate because they know they have to go to court if they write you a ticket.
A lot of free staters have Montana plates.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Check us out at freetalklive.com. You can sign up there to get the newsletter. And we'd love to be sending that out to you. We send it out once a month, never more. freetalklive.com. Thanks.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
I can definitely say that I have found the best cryptocurrency wallet. Certainly the best named one. I'm Mark Edge, and I love the Edge wallet. I've been using it for the last few months. You can buy, sell, trade, and hold your cryptocurrency securely. I trust my holdings of all the major cryptocurrencies to Edge Wallet, and you should too. No long phrases to memorize, just a username and password. Secure your freedom with Edge Wallet. Get it now on Apple or Android in the App Store or at edge.app. I'm a little obsessed with My Magic Mud. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, the founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I didn't even know my teeth were coffee stained. A week's worth of use convinced me, and now I use it every 3 or 4 days. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and I think it cleans better, too. My Magic Mud's available at most local health food stores, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, CVS, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, but I can get it for you for 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at mymagicmud.com. FTL20 mymagicmud.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock is next after the news on the.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news